All right, host is up. Or I guess I should say co-host is up.
Here's a message of importance to millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron. The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires in a form your body can easily use and put to work.
For you.
Not for me, okay?
Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are the way, we are the way, we are not alone. We are striving for more.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs,
We are the way, we are the way, we are not alone.
if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset,
We are striving for more.
start taking iron today.
Well, TGIF, everybody. Thank God it's flat. Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's fine to be here with you all. My name is Josh Corey. You tuned in to Have No Sphere right here on the Iron Rail Media YouTube channel. And this is actually a pretty special episode of Have No Sphere, if only for me. So be happy you got to tune in for tonight's show, because
Me too.
it's been a while in the making. And I'm excited to be able to make it happen. Not that I really did much of anything, but let's just jump right in and say hello to the fellas. We'll start off with one Mr. Zachary Zabala. Z squared, or if you're here familiar with the YouTubes, you may know him as Good Times for All. Zach, how you doing? It's been 12 full hours.
Not doing too bad. Been one of those days. Just not under the weather, but just not 100%. It's weird. It'll go away though. Yeah, Cammy and Bob are out shopping for washers and dryers right now.
Huh.
So Cammy will not be joining us tonight. They are trying to get all the, odds and ends. Sucks when you can't start doing laundry right away after a big move like that. So should have a new washer and dryer either tonight or tomorrow, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, I'm excited to get going. I'm going to shut up, and there's somebody I really like you to say hello to.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited. Holy jeez, I look different. Let me try this real quick. Nope, that's not going to work. Anyway, let's just say hello to one Mr. Walter Johnson. Or, again, here on the YouTubes, he would be Flat Earthhead. Make
He
sure
would
you
be.
check out that channel.
He
Walter,
would be
how are you
flat
doing?
sometimes. What's up, brother? Good morning, afternoon, evening. I don't even know anymore. I have had such a broken sleep cycle over the last 4 days that I don't even know what day it is. Apparently it's Friday because we're on the YouTubes, or the True Tubes, I suppose. Shout out to everybody that's already here in chat. I see quite a few awesome live premieres and whatnot. Looking at you, Aggie, going on at the moment. So I'm glad the people that are here, and hopefully more will be here soon. because as Josh has said, we have an exciting return to the realm, if you will, and I'll shut my face so we can get to that. Hi.
Hi. Well, let's go ahead and then point our attention in the direction of one Mr. John Savage, who also here on the YouTubes would be John Savage. John, how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, Josh. Not too bad. Hello to everyone listening, if there is anyone. I'm not looking at chat. Yeah, well, we haven't been on for 2 weeks, have we? So, or it feels like that anyway. But yeah, nothing to report really. Just dithering along as usual, and looking forward to tonight's show. Absolutely.
Well, good. Well, I guess that just leaves Criminy. You know, it's the hard thing with doing two shows off this one OBS is I keep mixing up my settings. So nothing comes out the same 2 weeks in a row. Anywho, that leaves one more person.
He has been sorely missed.
Sorely missed. There's just no way to do this other than come right out and say hello to the Adam Meakin. Adam, how the hell have you been, damn it?
Oh, you know, I've been fine. Evening, guys. I will say it's lovely to be back. Adam? God damn. Lovely to be back, guys. I don't know. Where have I been? I don't know. Oh, I don't know. But all I will, there's a phrase, isn't there? Sometimes a change is as good as a rest, and I would deny that. Sometimes a rest is a shitload better than any change. So it's lovely to be back, guys.
We are thrilled to have you. And as soon as I say it, one more pops in. And this pretty much makes it a full house. This makes it a full show. This makes it an actual Iron Realm Media Have No Sphere the way God intended it to be, with one Mr. Rob Freddy clinging onto the ball down there in Australia.
Hi.
How you doing, Rob?
Hopefully, pretty good. Hopefully you can hear me. My audio's working, is it?
Yep, you sound good.
It is working.
Sounding good.
Hold on.
Good.
Oh,
Hey, Adam.
it's made my
Hey,
night to have you.
I do want to amend that one
Come on,
second.
moan
I know
about something.
the testosterone overload got to you, Josh, because we are still missing an integral member to this.
We
fucking
surely
team
are.
That I miss and wish she was here so bad.
Shame
But
on me.
Apparently she's out appliance shopping, and I know what a joy that could be in the normal days, let alone in these crazy days. So we miss you, Cammy.
Yes,
But
we
I haven't spoken to Adam since Liverpool held the trophy. Have I?
Come on, then. First
Yeah,
of all,
we haven't spoken to him since then, just about.
that was the most convincing season up until COVID, wasn't it? And then it was already over with. Mo, but congratulations. Have a little dig about Forest if you want.
Yeah, I'd rather. Well, I hope they have a proper season next year and we win it again because I think we lost to Man City both times last year or last season. In both
Wow.
games, we only lost a couple of times, and I think it was both times was to them. So that's not good.
Well, it's a new one ahead, mate, and I don't know that much hope for you. To be fair, I think you're screwed. You've not strengthened. But congratulations, because tell you what, mate, it was up until the bullshit began. It was pretty epic. And like I said, second favourite team, my best mate. Me and him went to Forest games. He was Liverpool lad. We went through Hillsborough and everything together. So, yeah, I was more than chuffed too. If nothing else, so Man U and the other big boys had a bit of a slap. But yeah, congratulations, Rob.
And
That's all you get.
What's John's favourite song? Team again? What's your favourite team, John?
It's called The Important Things in Life FC.
the FUFC.
Here you are living in an open air prison, Rob, and you're talking heliocentric ball. That's the spirit.
These balls are real and definitely round. I'm like,
What in
I
the
don't
hell
see
is
any balls in Australia at the moment, but
No kidding. What the hell is going on over there, Rob?
There's some fucking assholes running the shit down south, isn't there? We don't. I'm not seeing that. That's not where I live. That shit's not happening where I live. That's down in Victoria only.
Coming to a state near you,
But,
though, Rob.
Yes.
Especially, it's all going to be normal because there's an election there for your premier this coming couple of
and
months.
she thinks she's doing a great job, and mind you, I had another one of those conversations yesterday to this doofus, and he sort of, the way that he was speaking was, don't let those Victorians up here. Don't shut those borders. Absolute grubs. Yeah, they should be doing this. I said, so what? We should be locking them all up. Yeah, they can't let them up here. But they're all idiots, and yeah. And so that's the mentality. That's the
your
mentality.
borders are shut, aren't they?
Yeah.
Queensland.
Yeah, but occasionally you'll get someone who sneaks in or something like that, and there's just an uproar. Sneaks in.
Shocker.
And then there's just an uproar and a big investigation on how someone from Victoria got in here, and everyone hates that person. He told me a story that his mate had Victorian plates on his caravan, and he had this. Well, his mate had been in Queensland for a long time, but he had to take the Victorian plates off his caravan because he was getting rocks thrown at him.
They've done such a good job, haven't they? That they've got the sheep policing themselves. It's just incredible. I see you can get up to $20,000 fine for being further than 5 kilometers from your house in
There
Victoria.
is. I have seen a fair few lawyers talking now, and they've got class actions going and different sort of things going against.
I've only heard of one, and that was to open the borders. I mean, that's rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, isn't it?
So, and
you got
one of our mainstream media outlets was calling for, it's all illegal. So we've got Sky News over here that they're pushing hard for the borders to be open. You listen to them every night, and they're pushing hard, but they might get 100,000 viewers each night. That's not enough.
Something happened with Sky TV, didn't they, when Trump got in, and they suddenly flipped and became all fighty and spilling conspiracies and stuff left, right, and centre.
Yeah,
something happened there. I don't know.
I did send you that other news article from one of our big mainstream media outlets. It was Channel 7 here, and they were going on about the deaths being forged. And so that was a morning. Did you watch that one yet, John?
Was that today? The last one I saw you. Right. I saw the the vet getting arrested, getting his door kicked in for making a fake.
There's some shit going on with that too, John. I don't know if it's real or not. I know
exactly.
Silly.
How do we know?
Because I don't know if everyone's seen the girl that was choked on the side of the street by the copper.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that one.
Mm-hmm.
That looks like the same copper that went into the house with the woman who's pregnant, who just posted about the protest. He looks the same. He looks same hairline, grey hair. It looks like him.
I think it's like programming to stop people participating on social media.
But it's sort of done the opposite, which could also be their go where they want people to go and be violent. But I'm hearing other stories where they're gonna, like the Antifa, they're getting paid writers today. So there's supposed to be a protest in Melbourne today, but there could be paid protesters there, writers, to cause a lot of shit to make the real people look bad. Yeah, they could.
Well, they're doing it in the States at the moment as well, aren't they?
Yeah, one of the sheriffs here. Oh, go ahead, Jeff. Adam.
I was just going to say what John stuck his conspiracy bit in my head on Wednesday when we were chatting about that whole pregnant mom bit, and was the whole thing staged? He was asking, and I was pondering on whether or not that was staged or not. If we assume it wasn't staged, then what certainly happened was that the police department decided to go and intimidate someone unlawfully. And then the media decided to pimp the shit out of it. That, to me, shows more levels of complicity than just necessarily the state. The way in which, than just a stage video. Do you know what I mean? And
well, it's going viral, yeah.
Either way, it's shocking.
And they did the same for the
either
UK.
way.
They did the same for the UK as well, from what you were saying, Adam, on Wednesday.
Have you seen the one today?
No, what's going on today?
On some tube, some meathead transport police.
Wear a mask or I'll assault you.
Yeah, wear a mask or I'll beat the shit and try and pepper spray. And I'll pepper spray anyone in the cabin. I don't give a shit because I'm a meathead. And that's been bugging me all day, that one. I'm just like, if that was me in there, you've got to do a citizen's arrest at that point on the policeman. You've got to ask the people in the cabin to say, look, this is just straightforward assault. Who's with me of arresting this policeman?
I was waiting for it to happen. I mean, that's what I was hoping the video would end with, would be them all standing up and realizing, hey, we outnumbered this jack off and we can take him down. And then finally people would realize,
arrest him under common law, not take him down.
Well, I meant legally arrested.
Politely to the police.
I know what you meant, and I'm just being more excited because it pissed me off too.
They would all look at their shoes. They would
but
fiddle with their earbuds, and they'd pretend you weren't there, like everyone does on the tube.
You've only got one person who's got to say it, and the copper will shit his pants. Yeah, because suddenly he's then got to persuade an audience. Psychologically, it only takes one person to diminish that man of his power, but it takes one brave person to do it. But if
there are videos of people doing that, aren't there? I think they're American, but there are videos of cops gone mad, and then the whole place is turned on them.
Coppers always go mad, and they're empowered now with bullshittery to try and. I had a bloke before I went on holiday, right, John? I had a bloke outside, and my shop, it looks out, the big glass windows, it looks out onto a little area where cars can pull up. And literally a week before I went away, cop car just comes ragging round, looks like it's coming in the window, the speed it comes, pulls up. So we all run out front. There's a bloke on one of these electric scooters that don't do 15 mile an hour, they maybe do 22 or something. Do you know what I mean? And he's works for the council, and he's on his way home. And he's not even riding it. He's walking past, and these coppers have chased him, obviously seen him. And they're giving him loads of shit. And they basically steal his goods and his property. The reason I say it is he was in today to get a statement from me, which I gladly gave. But I've come outside the shop after these coppers, been a bit of a dickhead, frankly, thinking he's chasing down some great crime. And what they threw at me was, as I go, and what the hell's going on for? He goes, whoa, stand back, be your 1.5. I says, how dare you? How dare you, officer? Falsify, the facts of what's going off to imply power over this situation. That's absolutely shocking. So I'm a qualified pharmacist, been here from day one. Do not lie in front of these people and stop coming towards me. You're the one that's just put a quarantine zone between ourselves in. Yeah. But this is what they've just been given another tool to powder their ego, haven't they? And that's what we have to kind
of getting a copy of his body cam. You
can
do
it all,
freedom an access request or whatever.
All filmed outside. Like I say, the guy that had his goods stolen today, we're doing it. All you can do is follow their bullshit, but just attack it under their bullshit. So he's been in today, and just got back. So it's always good fun, isn't it?
That's why I don't leave the house, because I don't think I'd ever come back. I just couldn't be party to that sort of thing and not do something that would get me into a lot of trouble. I don't know.
I'm going to get into trouble. I said to you. telling people.
Well, you did get in trouble in Italy.
Yeah, to be fair, that was me being slightly antagonistic, but you know.
Well, you only asked him for his
when-
name.
But if asking somebody their name and who they are, what gives them the authority, what's their license for authority is antagonistic, then
Well, you can't do that.
to be so.
Yeah, I mean, over here, you're supposed to, I mean, police, it's not like a law that they have to show who they are or say their name and badge number, but it's usually a company policy.
It's usually written into the department's
Their
general
guidelines.
orders. Yeah, the general orders will have them identify, because that's how you fight the imposters, right? You have to be able to trust who you're talking to if you want to talk to the police. Is the police? So there may even be times that is the law, maybe not with state or local police, but maybe even federal. I think there are times that they are by.
Yeah, certain people are required.
I
think they are in the UK. I think they're required to give their surname and number, or maybe just their number.
Name, rank, serial number. Don't you guys watch movies? I'm with you though, John. I've gotten to where I can hardly go into a store because I'm going to wind up saying something or doing something. Because I mean, I see these people with their infants with fucking masks on, and it's like, okay, and I'll say it to them. I'll say, you realize 8 and under is what it says on the sign outside, right? 8 and under doesn't have to wear a mask, and then I just walk away before they get ugly with me, because then I really get ugly. It's like, are you a fucking retard? Oh, sorry.
It's a fashion statement now for some of these twats.
Oh yeah, it's become trendy. It's the in thing to do now.
It's become trendy to post a selfie of yourself with your staph infection on your face because you're such a fucking idiot for wearing a mask.
It's politically correct.
Just search staph infection face on Twitter and see how many of these fucking idiots have got faces full of bacterial growths and all sorts. It just beggars belief. I'm ashamed to be part of the human race.
Well, yeah, bits of it embarrasses.
Well, like I say, that's why I don't leave the house, because otherwise I would just,
See, I think we are the human race. The ones all here in this chat, on this show, this is the human race. The ones who've taken their fucking mind out and set it on the shelf somewhere for somebody else to control, those are now hybrid humanoid type, the things they're trying to create. That's what they're fucking doing.
It's the zombie apocalypse, isn't it? They were pre-programming us with this for decades, and now we're in it.
Now we're fucking in it for sure.
The West, particularly, the masking, I think, if you think back 5 or 6 years, how we've ridiculed the Chinese, and they brought it in, trying to, under eco-warriors, getting people who bike to work wearing them because of the attempt to normalise the mask in the mainstream occurred. So you can look back, look at its timeline. It wasn't just something they threw in now after a Dustin Hoffman movie.
No, it's control.
No, I used to play a video game on the Xbox about 7 years ago, maybe even 10, called Katamari or something like that, Beautiful Katamari. And one of the things you got as a reward in there was a mask for your character. And like I said, that was 10 probably years ago.
Nice.
So yeah, they've been giving it signs coming. Well, I mean, look back in history. I think all of those pandemics were just another time they had to shut things down because too many people were waking up.
Do you guys remember on Twitter there was a big sort of craze thing called the gas mask kids? Remember that?
Never heard of that before in my life. What the fuck are the
I
gas
remember
mask
the
kids?
Garbage pail kids.
Well, no one knew what they were all. Garbage patch. That's what it turned into, yeah. But no one knew what it was all about. But they had, thousands of followers, and I don't know, it even had a website, I think, and they were called the Gas Mask Kids. And this was about, I don't know, 6, 8, 10 years ago. I don't know. It goes by so fast. But on a happier note, all this doom and gloom, my hat goes off to Jason of the Disbury family and all those guys.
Getting out there in the streets and
hell yeah. I couldn't do it. I would be arrested I mean, I saw them down in Salisbury, and PC, Weeble, Plod, and Pob turn up, and you can just hear them saying things about what's it, public order, something or other. You know, they got to be in there, and they got to be just stirring a fucking pot, and they're there in their fluoro vests, looking like Batman on, 20 stone. It just drives me mad. That's why I better just stay
Not
indoors.
Batman. The COVID's got Batman now.
Yeah.
Have you
Oh,
heard?
yeah.
Have you heard? Yeah.
And the
Took
Rock.
out Batman. So what? Nobody has a chance now. What the hell?
And who didn't know The Rock wasn't a bloody psyop from day one anyway?
Just while you're on Jason and the guys, and you might have seen it was good to see the van out there, the bus out there again. So the COVID stuff's important as well. Flat Earth's crucial, but there's a time now that's probably more important than Flat Earth, and that's just making your presence, your body, physical body be seen. So there's lots of COVID stuff, but again, a few folks, Dave Murphy, Jason, Robin, I think lots of folks involved in this. It's the kind of UK COVID tour, which kind of replicates the FE tour. I say same bus, but just want to give a shout out to the guys. I'm going to be on it again. I'm getting back. Whether I get to spend the night laying on the floor, I don't know as I want to be honest, but certainly be nice to put all the van again. She's in Nottingham on the 14th. The van's in, I think, Exeter today, Truro tomorrow, Bath. I'll read it. Here we go. Bath, Bristol, Cardiff, Swansea, Oxford, Birmingham, Leicester on lockdown. Don't know if they'll be allowed out, whatever. Then Nottingham on Monday the 14th. And then I'm going to try and head up, see Riley, and then Antonio Subarats on the Tuesday and Wednesday in Liverpool and Manchester. That goes on Carlisle, Glasgow, Aberdeen, Edinburgh, Newcastle, Leeds, Sheffield, Norwich, Cambridge, Trafalgar Square and Hyde Park. So I know there's lots of stuff going off, but this is a great one for people to just ad hoc and join in. If you can share that through other sources, that'd be really appreciated. But yeah, sorry to ramble on a bit, but shout out the tour.
Well said. Yeah, that's awesome. You're getting out there and doing this. I mean, this one is probably going to be a lot more easier to bring up than Flat Earth. I'm sure the conversations will, I'm sure they'll get heated, but it won't be like Flat Earth where people get so triggered that,
Same with Roxanne, right, Zach, about that. Because she's out there doing the same stuff, particularly London based and in other places. And she was saying, I'm trying to flat smack as well, but everybody's woke. She says it's on, there's no one to convert. You get around to bringing Flat Earth up and go, yeah. So I think
that's interesting. Well, I must say that whatever the bullshit games they're playing has seriously woken people up and given people time as well. You're 5 months or whatever if you're not a key worker to do all the research you can possibly do, or you can waste your time playing video games and whatever. But it seems that people haven't been wasting their time, which is fantastic. Because I'm hearing
greatest apocalypse ever.
Yeah, right.
it's kind of fostered a separate woke alliance of, let's say, of different people from different bits that I think is powerful for us to move forwards.
Am I right in thinking that Mr. Cheswick, I don't know the guy or know anything about him, is he a baller?
No. Mr. Cheswick was a guy that did some fantastic songs and was part of that kind of flat earth hating group. You know that everybody else was a shill. Do you know what I mean? And
Right.
but I do have some positive news there.
Well, I've read a comment
Yeah.
of it, so carry on. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he did tell all the hating group to sod off a while ago, and was that. And I've always liked his stuff, and I'd said so. It's a shame, mate, that your energies are directed in such a way. Do you know what I mean? Because he's a man with a lot of talent. But I know that at one of the meetups in Liverpool, and Liverpool, shout out, Rob. If we talk about cities that can make a difference, Liverpool's response in the UK has been awesome. But he was up there at one of the meetings and met up with Riley, Roxanne, and I think hopefully can use his talents as a positive force moving forward. So, yeah, shout out.
Well, quite a few people have sort of about turned on that sort of front as well, haven't they? Because it was rife a couple of years ago. It wasn't just good enough that you were a flat earther. You had to be calling out all the shill flat earthers and all this sort of thing. And I noticed, certainly not the worst offender, but Russian Vids is another one that sort of said, that's not going to happen anymore. And, it's not a constructive use of my time. And it's far better to, be around and talking about positive things and solutions rather than sort of calling out everyone as a shill. It's positive, I think. Best apocalypse ever.
I think there were more divisive groups back early on, which I think must have been infiltrated because of the division that was kind of fostered. I remember Riley and Mr. Cheswick are a good example, because I remember me laughing. He's a wanker song. He hijacked Mr. Cheswick and loads of other great stuff. And I think Riley wanted to use one, but back in the day, I remember Riley saying, "Look at this! Look at this!" Saying, he said, "Don't use it because I don't want to be associated with your viewpoint of flat Earth." And I think that's what's disappeared. The juvenile sections, like I say, it's not just within flat Earth. I think a lot of disparate groups have realised there's a much bigger agenda than the little bits that we're experts in, and that's kind of brought that together 5 months. Some of us.
Rob, are you still the only flat earther in Queensland?
Just about.
Just not having it.
It's taking a back seat, isn't it?
Speak to loads of
Yeah, well, there isn't a whole lot that's really coming out new. I can't even remember the last new thing I really got excited about.
Tell you one
flat Earth wise. I mean, mud floods was. Don't get me wrong.
Crater
there are
Earth.
some amazing stuff.
Crater Earth.
Yeah, but it's not. You know what I'm talking
Have
about.
you gone down that rabbit hole?
No,
completely.
It's an ocean.
Then
I'm
go,
not
because
ready
I
to jump
wasn't
in
even
yet.
thinking I would care. And when I went, it was like, oh wow, there was 2 or 3 times that literally gave me that bottom out of my stomach feeling from the early days of looking at flat Earth. Because there's a few things when it's overlaid with his little presentations and you see it and it's like, oh, okay, there it is. Holy shit. Yeah. I'm still working on getting him on the show. Shout out Wim, if you ever are listening and have seen my comment in your chat, definitely get in touch with us.
I was going to say, something more you can put your finger on than that. Was Dr. John D put out a good video, an hour-long video of the black swan, another black swan, and yet another black swan. It's sort of losing its thing, isn't it? Wasn't a black swan? Wasn't it called a black swan because there was only one of them, or what was the
I've been
thing about
John D's. As John's been doing this, I've been chatting with him all along as bits have come along and to that final presentation, and he's got more. He's been doing me head in tonight, to be fair.
Well, you were in the credits on the end, weren't you?
I didn't get that far. I've got to be honest, I've not watched the whole thing because I've sat through it. I've kind of skimmed through it, Do you know what I mean? Because I've gone through a lot of the slides as they were being made. You kind of and John, to be fair, he'll come and argue with me for a bit and stuff, and we'll bounce shit off. So which is cool. So I'm very lucky that I haven't. I'm waffling to say no. I haven't sat through it all.
Well,
yeah.
no, I mean, it's ironic, but it's not unforgivable because, I mean, for fuck's sake, we know it's flat, we know it's stationary. There's only so much you can see of that. I assume these videos aren't really to persuade flat earthers to remain flat earthers. They're trying to sort of logic it out for the people who might be thinking, well, I haven't got time to go out
just
and
waking
test
up to it. Yeah.
So
that's why I give so much
up.
credit to people doing this stuff. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
People are doing this. Going out, making observations, still doing all that stuff. That's because there are a lot.
And
new
still
people
having the
waking up.
debates as
And
well.
we still get censored so bad. A lot of the old videos, you can't even find them. So please keep making the videos, people. I love it. It's
And
I don't watch them. I don't watch them so much, but I'll go in and give a thumbs up or this or that, or just because they're out there doing it and putting in the effort still. Because there's a lot of people. And Black Swan, you only need one, like Arwen said in chat, John. It doesn't mean that there's only one. It just means you only need one.
Yeah,
if they say there are no black swans, and you find one, exactly. Then NASA's bullshit. NASA's lying. They only got to lie to me one time.
Yeah.
And speaking about theodolites,
Rob.
I was talking to a surveyor who'd been doing it for many, 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 many years, and I was talking to him about his theodolite. I said, "Oh, how far is this accurate to, mate?" And
well, hold on, Rob. Back up to when you were chatting with your mate and how this whole theodolite thing came up. Yeah.
Well, my mate was using it to, prove that the horizon it dipped as he turned it around, which I still find quite curious. I'd like to see that myself, but yeah. So this surveyor, myself and John have been trying to look up how far they're accurate to, and a lot of the theodolites don't sort of say how far they're accurate to on their websites. But I asked this guy, and he said 120 meters each way. So some will say 300 or 400 meters they're good for, but that's not in one direction. That's only in a circle. So 120 to 150 meters they're accurate to. So and he had a really, really good one too. So when we're doing roads that are like 500 and 600 meters long, and he's got to continually move his theodolite to the next little section. So he can't even go, I'm just going to use it. We're just going to set it at one end there, or he can't even set it in the middle and do the road and do the 600-meter road. He can't even do that. He's got to continually move it along.
So have you brought this up with your skeptical baller friend?
I'm not going to bother. He'd know that because he uses his theodolite. He's just bought one himself, so he'd know that he's got to move it around.
Is he a surveyor or whatever?
He's got a little digger, and
mate, you got to get that guy on camera. Yeah. You got to ask the guy on camera and then put it up on YouTube.
Yeah. Poor old fella.
Speaking of camera, you guys know this is a video show we do on Fridays here on YouTube, right? Just checking.
Feel free to share the video.
Yeah.
He didn't do a video though. That's the thing. Well, as far as I know,
theodolites prove that optics are no way to justify a level plane. The reason you can only go to a certain distance with a theodolite is that the degradation of the accuracy because of the optics occurs at that limitation. That is its fundamental weakness. It's not a measuring stick. Yeah, it's a measuring stick that gets more and more less and less accurate the further it goes, based on the limitation of the lens.
And the convexity of the lens, the fact that it is convex, and the fact that you're looking at it with your eye, which is spherical. And I mean, it just goes on, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, and there's 2 lenses in a theodolite. And there's a floating one in there that you can move up and down and actually change the height of the horizon. When I was at Chris Van Matre's, I made a short little video about that. Yeah, theodolites have 2 lenses. They have the one lens that you're like looking through, and there's another one. And you can actually move the horizon with it.
There's been some great videos on theodolites and how not to use them, but you try finding anything these days again. That's, if I had the link, I'd have sent that to Rob 2 months ago and shut his mate up, but you can't find these things anymore.
My mate wouldn't believe you anyway, John. It doesn't matter. He's one of those. You remember my office troll?
Yeah.
Years ago. Remember, he's as bad as that.
Why do you talk to these people?
Well, I used to work with the other guy, and I actually went because I thought this guy was quite intelligent. My office guy. Going back years ago too, here people, maybe 5. Well, when we started all this shit. Because he was right into NASA and all that sort of shit. So when this come out, I went and put all these questions to him, and he had an answer for everything. It didn't matter what I gave to him; he had an answer for it.
Well, there's a mainstream answer for everything, isn't there?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
They can make up anything.
Who's that arsehole Pommy professor?
Cox.
Yeah. I think that's the only thing he hasn't got is a cock, that bloke.
He's still on this male-female thing.
Well,
I saw something yesterday about Princess Di being a bloke and Prince Charles being a bird, and
well, that's another lot of shit. The amount of Twitter people that do that. Like I saw a bird. She blocked me as soon as I called her. Well, as soon as I questioned her, but she was saying that Clint Eastwood and Mike Tyson were women. Clint Eastwood. He's the most manly man I've ever. Eh? If Clint Eastwood's a man,
what difference does it make,
mate? If Clint Eastwood's a man, then that's it for me. That's it.
Yeah, no way.
And Mike Tyson used to beat up he used to beat up the biggest blokes in there. And what woman could do that? Could you imagine Michelle Obama beating up a bloke?
Yeah. Mike was still considered a child and he was beating up men.
Yeah, I could actually, Rob.
Especially no way.
Michelle Obama. I wouldn't want to get in the ring with Michelle Obama. That's
no, that's a lie.
I'm not fucking with Mike.
I'd rather get in with Obama.
Mike versus Mike.
Play slapsies.
That's funny. That is funny. But yeah, she blocked me straight away as soon as I was like, oh, bullshit.
But yeah, all they got to do is show a photo of someone.
But what her proofs are, John, is the collarbone, or what's the technical name for a collarbone? A scapula? Clavicle? Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. See, I'm no doctor.
No, I just broke one.
What?
So.
Whoa! Wait a minute. Since when are you not a doctor, Rob?
Rob, I'm not a doctor, but I'll have a bloody good look.
So what this bird was saying was, men have got certain shape in their bodies, and men have got certain shape of their bodies, but the problem is there's only there might be say 5% of men out there have got the same shape, whatever it might be, and so they're the 5% that she's posted. Oh, look at this bloke with the different shape. Well, the hands, the fingers are the different sort of lengths with women and men.
Mm-hmm. Generally,
generally, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So if that's 10% of men might have sort of women's hands, then that's the one she's picking out. It's just rubbish. It's just rubbish. You pulling Mike Tyson on as a woman, and if Mike, if you're listening out there.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
I'm with you, Mike.
No way. He might be fighting again here. They're talking about him and
Shark, right? He's fighting Shark. Is that what I saw?
No, he's actually lacing up and getting back in the ring.
Yeah,
it looks like he's in pretty good shape.
One of our footballers wanted to fight him. One of our just retired footballers. He's probably just as big as Mike.
I wouldn't. It
How
doesn't
old is
matter.
Yeah,
I
Mike
wouldn't
said
care.
no. He said no. He said no. I'm not doing
Yeah,
that.
I mean he's 54. He's old. He's going to be fighting. Or not Floyd Mayweather Jr. No. I forget his name.
That's fighting
like
talk in
51.
itself. 54 is old.
I'm not saying it's old. I'm just compared to a 28, 29-year-old and heavyweight boxer.
Well,
I would not want to
that.
see Mike get back in with a. I don't want to see Mike Tyson try to go for a title or anything like that. Yeah.
I'd look forward to him taking on some arrogant 29-year-old and kicking the shit out of him, because
that'd be funny. I'd love to
Tyson,
see.
He's a boxer, all right. And when you watched Colin, what was his name? The Irish
Mickey Ward.
No, what was the Irish guy when he fought Mayweather? And he's a kick-ass martial arts fighter, yeah. But if you fight pugilist style, if you fight within Queensberry rules, that's a skill. That's a talent.
Yeah, that's an art form.
Yeah, exactly. And Mike, any chump who just thinks he's hard and isn't a world-class boxer in his own right, yeah, you can give him 30 years, he'll still kick the shit out of him, mate.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I look forward to it. Bring it on. Bring it on. Let's get the hardest Black Lives Matter guy out there.
I want to see that hook to the body and then the uppercut. Just one more time, Mike. Give it to me one more time. That was my favorite Mike Tyson combo ever. That guy. And there's a young guy now. Sorry, we're talking boxing, folks. BB is his name. He's young, 19, 20. Came to the States. I think he fights out of the Brooklyn, out of the Bronx. And he's bad. And he's just like Mike. He goes to the body. All these young guys, the ones that are good and have a chance at a title at a young age, you notice one thing about them. They all hit the body early. They're taught well. And yeah. And I mean, this kid, his last name's a BB. I forget his first name. It's weird. But keep an eye out for this kid.
You wouldn't have wind for too long if you got in the ring with Mike, I don't think.
No, that was probably the funnest boxer ever to watch for me. And I've watched a lot of boxing.
Oh, no, Chris Eubank. Well, on a different weight scale, Chris Eubank. Do you remember him?
I remember the name.
Freaking boxer ever, but more.
It was Chris Eubank and Nigel Benn fighting at the same time, and that was just they were.
Was that the guy that did the drunken boxing?
But yeah, he looked like he was sort of.
He'd do like crazy steps and throw wild uppercuts and.
No, that was Prince Nassim Hamed.
No, I know Prince. This is I just watched a documentary on this guy too. They called him the Drunken Master because he just looked like he was loaded.
It's a great kung fu style, by the way.
Yeah,
he could just duck and dodge everything. He never got hit. Yeah, he got hit. He lost.
He would come in and he would stick his face right out there and then just dodge. You know, the guys would be throwing punches at him and he would just be moving his head and just dodging. And it was like he was like an eel. You couldn't get a hit on him. But yeah, Chris Eubank, his son now is a boxer as well, I think. But yeah, I gave up on boxing quite a while ago and realised it was fixed like every other bloody game out there.
No.
Yeah, the funny thing is, John, this person that did the gender thing, they were watching the flat Earth bus going around Europe, and they said to me, she said, yeah, Adam Meakin, he walks like a girl, and yeah, but so I think. So I defended you, Adam. I said, I don't know. I don't know what he or she is. So I don't know.
Just tell her I really do wobble in high heels. See what she makes of that. That's all
the way you went down when that guy grabbed you,
mate. He didn't.
Well, I said, he could be a woman. He could be a woman. I don't know,
mate. He went up and he didn't cup. He grabbed for the righty. He grabbed for the righty, and yeah, it was not a polite way of being. Like in England, somebody taps you on the shoulder, for fuck's sakes. They don't grab you, punch you in the groin, and then grab your right testicle. You know what I mean? It's
Why don't they grab the left one?
well, you know, I was saying earlier in regards to that about
He's only
standing
got
up
one.
in the tube station. Yeah, that's another good example of what the police do. So the way they abused me and took my rights away, that my European rights in this case, yeah, was to arrest me and pretend I was African. Yeah, that's the reality of what went off there. That's the law. That's the documents I was arrested under. A suspected non-European citizen, yeah, giving a forcible request to documentate themselves. Yeah, that's what happened. That's how they tried to deal with it. And that's what I'm saying. You give them an inch, and they will abuse it, and they'll write it up with pretense.
Savage!
There.
You're welcome. I don't.
Sorry, that was for
Yeah.
Brian specifically on his way out of the chat. He wanted to hear that savage drop one more time before he left. So I just wanted to get it in there. It meant I wasn't trying to be a dick. Trying to interrupt you.
To be fair, I was trying to fit it in, Josh, but I thought it was quite a good end. It was pretty savage.
Hey, I'd never rabbit punch your balls, mate, to bring you down. That's just not cricket. Sorry. If cricket wasn't fixed as well.
Cricket, at least I've had a box on. I could have took it a bit better. You know.
Faggot. Sorry. Oh, can't say that. I'll have the.
No, it was proper
police.
faggoty, mate. It's proper
I just
faggoty
played
behaviour.
cricket for the first time on a video game. That game seems like it'd be pretty cool.
It's a lovely day out.
I bet it would be.
Only if you're batting and bowling. Every other person out there is bored shitless, including the spectators.
Well,
I
that's
was a
just like
I was the
baseball. I mean,
wicketkeeper.
baseball is the same way. You're just standing around.
I was the wicketkeeper, John. So and a batsman, but yeah, wicketkeeper. So I was always in the game. I loved it.
How many times?
Now, what's a
do you get the ball
wicketkeeper?
in
What
the
does that
face?
guy do?
Keeps the wick.
Wicket-
He's behind the.
He's behind the stump, so he's always in the game.
It's like the
Yeah.
backstop. Yeah, whatever.
He's the one
catcher,
with a big
we call it.
face shield on.
John Candy in
That's interesting, but generally you're just on
Baseball,
the
yes. Baseball, they wear gay bloody pads, and gridiron they wear the gay pads. You don't see gay pads in our rugby, football.
Football
They don't
or
wear-
cricket. You're back
They don't
on.
wear pads in baseball, do they? They wear a helmet, I guess.
No, gridiron. The backstop, he wears a face shield.
Yeah, I don't think
What's-
that football players should be wearing helmets.
No, I think American
That's
football
a
players
weapon.
on the
That is
field
a
with
weapon.
European football players, I bet you within 6 months, European football players will be wearing pads. 275-pound lineman comes up and body checks you, you're going to want to put pads on.
Soon they'll be wearing
There's some
masks,
big boys
goggles,
playing.
You just step around them.
and
Too big.
hazmat suits.
Our little guys in football are the best players because they can't catch them.
Oh yeah, Barry Sanders. He was my favorite running back of all time, without a doubt. And
No.
I was a Chicago Bears fan, so we had to play the guy at least twice a year. And he had like at least a 50, 60-yard run every single game. And he played for a shitty team, so you knew he was getting the ball. You knew the ball was going to Barry Sanders, and they still couldn't stop that guy.
Bernie Sanders or Barry Sanders?
Barry Sanders.
Enough of
Bernie.
this bull bollocks.
Yeah.
I just scored a
Fake
touchdown.
calls.
Bernie for the touchdown.
Go sports ball.
Feel the burn.
We were possibly going to take calls later on, weren't we?
Hmm.
Just thought
I'll call
put
in.
that out there.
That'd be
Yeah,
good.
you call in, Rob. Yeah.
John, can I speak to John, please? I love you, John.
Is that Mike
Scaring
Tyson?
me now.
that's Mike from Vegas. Well,
You forgot the
there's a
lisp.
little-
You've got to have a
Siesta.
lift. Sorry, go ahead.
Could I pin something? What I've been away a bit, and what I've been listening to a lot of, as well as obviously enjoying while he's sitting there chilling. But what I've been having fun on is over on Discord, which is a bit like the old days. There's a load of places over there. I know we've got a place in that, but one of the places I wanted to give a proper shout out to was the 24/7 Flat Earth Discord place. It's been around a while. Couple of bits that I think is good for both ball and flat is that, you know, these guys have been around a while. They're on all the time, and there's decent mods there. It's actually quite good. There's a level of bullshittery. Like if you listen to Nathan's stuff, yeah, there's a point where you can't keep abusing someone for being completely stupid, but also people can't keep kind of banging on. And it's a really good place for some, like YouTube's really hard to get hold of anything novel. We were talking earlier, but I mean, you get some mundane shit like all the times, but the good thing that is happening over there is there's a place called the Arena. So if there is a point where you are having a decent conversation, and you've got a room full of people, you can go to the Arena, and it goes one-on-one. Some real good rules, some of them based on cricket, and I'd like to give myself a shout out right now. I did suggest to them.
Is that the one run by Karen B? Just
No.
out of interest. Okay.
No.
So on Discord, what's it called? 24 hour.
24/7 Flat Earth Discord. And Rob, what I suggested to him is, you know how people bullshit in the Arena. You know, in cricket you've got 3 challenges, and if you say no, that weren't out, and it's challenging, you were wrong, you lose a life. So they were looking at ways to kind of moderate, to give people the opportunity to challenge, but not to allow constant bullshittery. So I've kind of put that to them, the kind of cricket thing, which is why I kind of wanted to mention it there. They brought that in. So if you are bullshitting, you get challenged, and somebody challenges you, after if you lose 3 times, you can't keep challenging. So you kind of lose the debate. I think it's quite a novel thing, because for some reason, intellectual honesty is a very difficult thing to achieve out there in the internet. Do you know what I mean? But these guys have got some decent rules, and I just wanted to give them a real shout out. And there's one of the guys in there, he gave me a little quote that I've got to summarize it with. So it's, come one, come all, if you think you live on a ball. So it's an open invite to the...
Oh, I like that. Yeah, and I second that shout out. I spend a lot of time listening to Discord. I don't jump in too much, but no, it's always on, you know. I mean, sometimes you jump on and nobody's talking, but for the most part, during the day, there's always somebody having a conversation about something.
That's cool. And shout out Mary Mom, who's in the chat at the moment, cooking chicken and potatoes, I think. I've been nearly done. But yeah, she's one of the mods in there. Really cool, actually. Like tonight, there was a huge bit of slapping going off, and to be fair, it was one of the flat earthers that was overstepping the rules of decorum in there, and she just muted them, let the conversation go on, and then resolve the issue with people overstepping. So it's a decent place to I know you can get a bit shouty out there in YouTube, so it's a good place to join in and say, have your say as well, and learn, because there's a lot of really good mods out there. You know, the ballers come and go, but there's a lot of decent chats as well. And if you want to learn, then there's a lot of decent guys and gals out there that will be patient with you as well, I think. So yeah, shout out, say 24/7 Flat Earth Discord. Thanks for that.
All right, Walter, I have sent Rob all those pictures on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm getting them.
I'm looking. I think
Nice.
at least 3 of them look really photoshopped.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the one where she's swinging her hips. I like that. She, yeah.
Why do you like that one, Rob?
I just like it.
Because you can really see his cock.
You can really see that thing swinging, right? Just a swinging.
Ooh, I miss some John Anderson.
Can we share these pictures you're laughing at? Ooh.
No.
Am I missing a
No, it was just,
Green.
it was too funny when Rob was talking. And I happened to be in a folder looking for other things and saw a few things you might appreciate.
It's just the first lady.
It's the first dude. The first dude. Our ex first dude, right?
It's Friday, my dudes.
Right.
with a big schlong?
That's something.
Big Mike.
Oh, guys, I better go because I've got stuff to do today. So, might catch you again next Saturday.
That'd be
Well,
good.
it's been a
Have a
pleasure.
great day, Rob.
Yeah, I gotta go.
What you got to do, Rob? It's
I've gotta
Saturday
make-
there, isn't it?
make breakfast for the kids and got things to
You
do.
still got hockey, Rob?
No. Well, they just about canned that.
You never
The
heard of
little kids'
Pop-Tart?
sport. They've started the kids' sport up again, but it's only, I think, only one parent could go. Would you believe?
It's hard to play hockey 6 feet apart from each other.
That's how they're doing it
Yeah.
here. Kids are playing
Yeah.
sports,
To,
but
yeah,
nobody's
to-
allowed to go.
I'm back to normal tomorrow. I'm running the line. The kids are playing football. Yeah, all they've got to do, right, is ridiculous. So they're on the pitch playing football together. Yeah. But instead of just having the dugout where all the stuff's dumped, yeah, they have to have cones 1.5 meters apart where they put their kit and their drinking bottle. So as not to.
The longer this
interact
shit
with
goes
each other.
on, Adam, the longer this shit goes on, the kids are going to think it's normal.
No, they don't. This is the beauty. Kids are just laughing at it. What the? Yeah, my kids got. I wouldn't let them go back with a mask on unless you're returning. What they've got to do, and this is my letter of contention, is my boy walked in. He said, we're all right. Dad, we ain't got to do this. So okay then. All we've got to do, and he looked at me and went, is wear a badge. Mine and Marie laughed and went, yeah, yours pink, Leo. So Leo's got a walk. I said, well, that's all right, isn't it? Pink badge. It's better than a yellow star, isn't it?
True enough.
So yours are back to school next week, aren't they, Adam?
They've had day 1 and day 2. Leo starters, they're the retards. They're figuring out how they manage. With when the school's full, right? It's just fucking chaos. So they've obviously had the press in yesterday with only 2 years in, took loads of photos as everybody can socially distance. But then the rest of the kids are coming today. And it's like, oh, it's back to normal. Like, you know what I mean? It's just a farce. They're just pretending like they've done with everything all along. And I think more and more, it's good because the Karens of this world don't know what to do right now, do they? They're our best exponents in this moment because we're all laughing. And frankly, we're glad to get the kids back. I think some of you guys might have seen the video of one of my patients who turned up today.
I did indeed watch that happy dance. That was
Do you want
awesome.
to show it? Show it.
I don't have it on the
I'll show
computer. I did it on my phone.
Show it
Shots.
because she's one of my favorite. She's got
I got a kick out of this one.
she's got 4 and it's been killing her. It's been killing her. And like you see people every day how they've coped, normal people, with the shit they've thrown at us. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, sorry. Anyway, Rob, if you've got to shoot off, cheers for joining us. Be round next week.
Yeah.
Shit, I thought he was gone. I said, I love you later, dude. Later, dude.
All right.
See you, Rob.
All right, I'll catch you all later. Eh? See us.
Take it
Hey,
easy.
you know, we do an early morning show on TFR that you were part of at once. Come
Yeah,
hang
what
out
time?
with us.
What time is that for yous now?
It's
What time
the
is?
same time as it's always been, 4 in the morning.
Is it? Yeah, it seems like it's earlier now. Seems like
Nope.
it's earlier.
Unless you shifted in your time traveling faster than you were before. I know how that out of
no,
gear ratio thing works.
Yeah,
So-
I don't have daylight savings here, so yeah, it seems like you start about 7 or 8 in the morning night for
we'll
me.
put you in the car and see what happens Tuesday.
We'll do that.
There we go.
All right, man.
See you later.
Later.
All right.
Later, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Yep.
Yep, 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 yep.
Somebody text me right now and you'll hear it. I guarantee it.
So, Ad, who's this woman that we're going to see
Well, I won't name her, but I'm sure
No,
she won't.
no.
She knew what I was doing. I said, shit. It's just one of the patients that she's got, I think it's 4 kids, from like 6 to about 14. It's been hard work for her. You couldn't write. was that your phone, Walt?
That was my phone, Zach.
Yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
No problem. Did you see the text? Just says, yep.
Like I say, the kids have been going back, and I think her joy is symptomatic of why people will and are doing what they're doing. They know it's bollocks because nobody will do anything to harm the kids. That's why they pulled them. But I think after this long, you know it's bollocks, and this lady will probably show you why.
This made my wife smile really big. She wanted to watch it like 3 times.
And this is only because kids are back to school.
Ooh, they're back to school. That's how we do it one day ago. And I'll dance myself. Woo! I'm a free woman.
There's a Comforts.
Oh, I'm a free woman.
Comforts took the week off next week, but she waited to make sure the kids were back.
That
is
awesome.
Definitely needed a smile like that.
That's true. One of the girls that works for us, she's been waiting. So when do you want the rest of the holidays? And just so when the kids go back, she's been desperate. You know what I mean? People have, but I think that's part of the control system. They've worked this very, very hard, so that we will go back. Because we know it's bollocks. Because, like I said, fundamentally, we wouldn't send our kids back into anything risky, and that, I hope, is the thing that plays against them. That subconsciously now, so many people, all the ones, where's the Karens kicking off? Do you know what I mean? They're not. They're sending the kids back. So subconsciously, even if they won't admit it publicly, they know it's bullshit.
I've been planning and investing. So last week I bought the Trivium from Wooden Books? Trivium, Quadrivium. I bought Canterbury Tales. I bought Don Quixote and one other. I can't remember.
I love
Dante's,
the Canterbury Tales.
Trivium rocks.
Comedy.
I love Don Quixote. Which is what I
Can I
thought you
give
said.
you a bit of...
Don Quixote? What's donkey? Oh, Don Quixote. I got you now. Doesn't have anything to do
Jeffrey
about a
Chaucer
donkey.
was a real guy?
Now spell it.
DonQuixote.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
John,
I'm Don Quixote, the man of La Mancha.
yeah, so we know him, right? I've got learned a little this holiday trivia, guys, on Don Quixote. So with all the Black Lives Matter stuff, I was doing a bit of stuff, and I stumbled across like authors who were slaves, and it turns out sadly that, you know, however many years a slave, it is actually written by a white guy, unfortunately. But well, the interesting thing was the writer of Don Quixote was actually taken into part of the mass slave industry around that time, which was the Arab slave industry, where those along the Spanish and Mediterranean up to the British coast would be hijacked and taken away to slavery. He was one of the few that made it back, and that's when he wrote Don Quixote afterwards. Incidentally on that's why Rule Britannia sings Britain, never, never, never shall be slaves. It's nothing to do with any remnants of the imperial past. It's to do with the truth of history, that we were subjected to slavery raids persistently to the point of petition to London, fear, that the coast of Cornwall and the south of England, and then all the way up into the North Sea, were subject to slavery raids for white slaves in the 16th and 17th century. It's when Cromwell forms the Royal Navy that it starts to cease, and it's a celebration of the Royal Navy that Britain will never, never, never be slaves again. It's got nothing to do with
And now look at us, eh?
following
Now look at
imperial.
us.
Yeah.
Slaves
Just
from the
FYI.
inside. They don't need to raid our borders or our shores now, do they? They've got control of our 1 mile square city
They
of
go
London.
pay a politician if they need slaves or little children to do their horrible rituals and stuff. They know where to go.
So who sees all of this malarkey as the death throes of a failed world coup, and who sees it as we're all fucked?
It's in the balance, John, and that's why I played earlier. Bodies need to be seen on the streets, and violence doesn't need to be seen. Look at the way people repulse some of the stuff. Obviously, it inspires some, the herd mentality, but if you look at a lot of the BLM stuff that went off, people are put off by that. What needs is a voice, a statement, a vote, not in their bullshit system, but a vote, turning up on the land, on the free land, and showing your presence and what it means. And I think those moments are coming for us all. The states is worse, but both here and there, they've got separate fights first. But I think certainly in the UK, we've got the opportunity to let the establishment see the volume of our voice. And
well, this
not
could
many
be leading up
opportunities you get,
to
do
the
you?
26th, isn't it? The 26th of this month, September, is it? When they culminate in, is it Trafalgar Square? You got all the dates there, haven't you?
Yeah, Hyde Park. I think they're
Hyde
finalised.
Park's on the Sunday, but you've got this big. I mean, it's not just the COVID Lie tour; it's the Stand Up X, it's Pierce Corbyn, it's Simon Dolan. They're looking for 500,000 people. Which, to be fair, well, I mean, not to put a dampener on it, but didn't nearly 1 million people march on London to stop the Gulf War, to say no? And Blair, our mass murderer in charge at the time, it just got completely ignored. So I don't know. Protesting, yeah, who knows?
Like I say, I don't think it's about. For me, it's the reason I'm going to get off my arse. Isn't to try and storm a building, achieve anything, grab a courtroom, whatever, daft stuff we've done, it's just literally about going out there and showing them, that there is a populace, that there's a line, and who knows where we could take it from there. But I think that's kind of a turning point more than anything. If we don't take the opportunity, and we roll over and we go silently, and what's the phrase from Independence Day? We go silent quietly. I will not go quietly into the night. If we do, we roll over like that, then
we turn into Victoria, don't we?
Yeah,
we turn into Victoria. But wasn't there even in the mainstream, there was a poll that said that nearly more than 50% of the UK wouldn't accept a vaccine, which I thought was relatively encouraging, but
really
equally
50%. Is that what you saw?
Yeah, I think it was 54 or 50.4 or something like that.
I don't believe it.
Polls here, there, and everywhere. Yeah, but a lot of people say they wouldn't have it, and then they say, okay, well, you can't come to work. Then they're like, where do you stick this thing? Go for it. But what are you seeing over in the US? Is it the death throes of a failed world coup, or
no,
something different?
Feels like a slow ramp up.
Yeah, I think their plans are going pretty accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to admit to agree with you, but yeah, I hope not. But
I mean, it is waking up a lot of people, but
it's like Adam says. It's literally on a knife edge. It could go either way. It could go to totalitarian, dystopian hell, or it could go to elation and New Year's Eve times 1,000. But it's up to us. It's up to us to say what we want. We've been given the offer, and now we need to conditionally accept it. And I don't know, give them our terms. Yes, we'll take
John.
your dystopian new world order as long as you hang by the neck until you're dead. Yeah, sorry, Adam.
I'm just going to say I put a bag in chat. Actually, I said, "What's it like over there to Duma?"
Oh Jesus, South Africa! They banned booze and fags, man. Did you hear that, Adam?
What?
Yeah, they banned booze and fags.
Oh, there's plenty of tissues.
I don't understand how a single politician is still alive in the place, but there you go.
Well, but I say I'd like to see what Duma says, because it's a very different part of the plane, and you know.
Well, if you can jump on, that'd be great, because
at
I
least
see South Africa as a testing ground, just as Australia and New Zealand are, and Scotland.
I was joking that with a comment in autodidactics. There's a great mud flooder, but a decent common law bloke as well. One of Martin's friends. Looking at the stuff then, I was just joking. He started his video out with a bit of Braveheart, a bit of Mel Gibson. I cannot take our freedom. I don't know why Mel Gibson. He should have a French accent in that. But anyway,
he didn't have any accent in that, as I recall.
It was what it was. It was Brisbane. But point being, Scotland used to be the testing ground. If you look at when we were kids, John, they used to joke about that, the council tax, all those new ways of testing laws or regulation. They'd always roll them out Scotland first and then see how it goes. And to me, you look at what's going off in Australia and New Zealand, and the fascism that you're seeing, and I don't know whether it's real, it's fake, or whatever went off with that program, but the way the police are complicit, the media is complicit in allowing that presentation to subvert the minds of people, that if in Australia you dare to even speak out about this now, even if you're pregnant, some fucker's going to come around and nick you. Yeah? That's absolutely shocking psychological warfare, what that is.
And I mean, this is what boggles me, that they should be right. 30 years ago, they'd have been rioting in the streets. They were rioting in the streets when the poll tax came out here. They were blockading petrol station when it went over £1 a litre. And, you know, now when petrol is literally $0 a barrel, they're still charging over £1 a litre, and not a dicky bird. You know, it was like we'd always look at the French and go, yay, the French, because they just didn't stand for any shit. You know, they would blockade an entire city or a ferry port, or I mean, they would just roll out the articulated lorries and block the arteries in the entire country if they said, you know, the wrong word in France. But now, whatever happened to the yellow shirts and the Hong Kong riots and all of that, and the rise of flat Earth, and everything has just been cut off at the knees and neutered.
Yes.
However,
that goes back to what I said earlier. They have, but look at the merging. People have learned while they've been locked up. They've learned, yeah. And I think, like I said, when I go back to what Rox was saying, trying to go out there and flat smack with truth of the stuff, the reaction is very different. And I think,
yeah,
we've probably all learned a little. The shit, even as a pharmacist, in inverted brackets, that I've learned about virology over these past few months. It's been, do you know what I mean? Or bothered to learn. And I think that's the reality. Bothered to
Well,
learn.
this is it. I see a sort of silence, a sort of calm before the storm, because it's not about the yellow shirt. It's not about, get us out of the EU or any of this sort of. Now it's like, hold on, we're being run by psychopathic pedophiles that want our children. They literally want to enslave us. And it's not a conspiracy anymore. I mean, anyone that says that now is just literally part of the Borg. They are the zombies.
That was another good thing, isn't it? That's come back up to the surface. And I said
Everything.
shout out to Liverpool earlier. Shout out to Liverpool double, triple time in the way they've voiced that. I mean,
I
brilliant.
love Liverpool.
Yeah, I know. Rob's gone, so it's all right now. It's nothing to do.
If I didn't live here, I'd live in Liverpool. Because I spent quite a long time working there back in the early 2000s, late 90s. But yeah, I mean, I imagine Liverpool is heavily fluoridated, but like Southern Ireland, or you can tell where the people that don't put up with shit are, is because they're generally heavily fluoridated, like the whole of Australia.
So, but yeah, that for me, that this is the bit with you guys, right? So we've got this over here, and it's well established what's that, and it's bubbling up again. But the bit I loved was, and do you believe in this Q bollocks? Because I'd love to, but I said to Ross, I lived through it 10 years ago. You remember the 2012 term, the millennium? All of this shit, all of this coming up, we're definitely going to rat out the
You mean
paedophiles.
when we all died and
The White Knights are gonna do it.
That's when Walt. Yes, you nailed it. But no, I do remember that. I don't believe any of this Q stuff. I think it's like trying to have a decent conversation with ballers on Twitter. I think whenever you try, Q shows up and it's just a big waste of time. Here's something to doggy paddle around in for the next year and a half. You're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to do anything. You're just going to tread water and do shit. That's it. Trust the plan. Don't do anything. Sit there, scour the internet, try to decode these bullshit little puzzles I create.
Wait for your messiah, trust your government. It's all the same fucking thing. Sit still and don't do something. Stare at the TV, play a game, whatever, but just sit. That's what we want you to do.
That's exactly it. It just has that repetition. I remember it.
And see, that's it. I'm sorry, but that's it.
Yeah,
I keep wondering about is like, okay, so protests, right, and marches, right, and take back, right, but take back what? The insanity we were living in before the pandemic bullshit? No, what we need to do is take it back to something that it used to be, something when we were part of nature, something when we were waking up the soil and we were part of life, and before this invasion of whatever psychotic hive mentality has taken over this realm. Sorry, I just had to get that out. Yeah, I want to change this. I don't want to go back to normal. Normal was fucking insanity.
That's it. I've waited once, and I did wait. We waited, we meditated, we did all that shit, and it just, a lot of the stuff is exactly as you're saying, Josh. It's like, don't do stuff. Just wait. Everything's fine. You don't need to, as I was saying, you don't need to show your presence. And that worries me. What system wouldn't want the populace to demonstrate that they're on board, other than the First Lady wearing a rather dubious dress with a possible Q on it? Or those that they're too slimmer things to hold your hopes on for me, other than getting off your arse.
So what do people think about the Earth United stuff and the local courthouses? Who's aware of it, should I ask? Jesse Casanova and Christopher someone or other. Can't remember.
What do you mean common law stuff? I mean, like Michael Berners and where's it going to get us, mate? Where's it going to get us? I don't have an answer. I just think more resolutions in common law courts, which are perfectly valid, that are not enforceable, doesn't progress us.
I think it's the only way forward. The only reason it's not progressible is because it hasn't got the manpower behind it. It hasn't got the structure in place to enforce the verdicts of the courts. So what they're hoping for is 100,000 people in each country, and then they're going to launch or have common law court. It's difficult to explain because I don't know enough about it, but it'd be an interesting guy to have on anyway. Would be Jesse Casanova or some of the others. I don't know, but yeah, it's. I've said all along that I think this has to be done through the courts, but it has to be done through our courts, common law courts, not their bullshit court system that they have, maritime court system that they have at the moment. But what are the other options? I mean, you can't storm Parliament, you can't burn it down, you can't, there's no point attacking their strongholds or anything like that. We know we're on the side of right. We know that we're within the law. They've gone into the realms of legal, and they have clearly demonstrated the entire ethos behind power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So, yeah, I don't know. If you're not aware of it, then it's something you should at least be aware of, if you know what I mean. I think it's Earth United. The website's terrible. It's earthunited.global.
Well, you're right. We have to have enforceability. The reality is we live under a law that isn't mandated by common law. It's mandated by maritime law. We are subject to, as we discussed earlier, the fascist implications of a police force that have, for some reason, forgot their oath and are happy to implement the edicts of corrupt courts, which they must be aware of by now. And certainly any officer is duty bound to investigate the first time he hears about it. But it's not what we're living under. We're living under a very different state where this is all controlled, and corrupt courts, which don't operate under common law but operate under different premises, have their edicts enforced by an armed militia. And that militia is becoming more and more armed the more and more the years pass.
But can you see it from their point of view, i.e. the police and the plastic police's point of view, that, I mean, they've played the game with them as much as us. They've put division between us to the point where the public despises the police, and the police have got this brotherhood, this blue line, this almost Masonic, secret society membership that you have to defend your brothers on the blue line to the death, no matter what. I mean, they've pulled a classic case of divide and conquer between the people and the police, when in reality the police are the people and the people are the police.
The police gets their
One
authority.
time I believe that might have been true, John, because I had family members who were on the force and they were humans. But as I've watched things over the years change locally, and I know people who were decent people who tried to get on the force and didn't. And I know psychopaths that I grew up with in high school that would hurt animals that easily got on the fucking force. This has been, again, part of the plan all the fucking while.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. They are attracting the scum and rising them to the top. But even those people that were psychopaths as kids and would hurt animals, they were subject to programming.
Oh, indeed. They were
yeah.
MK Ultra'd out their ass. I don't doubt it. Who the fuck
Yeah.
else would do that unless they're not
And
human,
they can
but
change too.
That's another show.
And they can also change too. I mean, any one of these people can wake up one day and see that uniform in the corner of the room and say, I'm not going to be an asshole today. I'm going to do what is right, what feels right inside, because they must feel it. They must feel that whatever they're doing is not right, but they've just watched too many movies. They've been programmed from birth that, to get on in this world, you have to be an asshole. You have to stab people in the back and move on up. But I don't know. Hopefully the whatever the woo woo vibration is rising, and people, could introspect on themselves and say, geez, I've been an asshole and I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to resign from police, or I'm going to do the right thing. I mean, it's hopium. I understand that, but I'm seeing fringes of it on the outsides that, some people are changing. I, for one, I was an asshole, not in a sort of thuggish police way, but and still am. But I can't sack you, Walt.
right.
Ruin your life. But I could 20 years ago and did under the guise of, I need to make business work. I need to do the horrible things.
Right, I got to be the alpha male.
I'm the manager.
Right.
I'm the henchman. I'm the guy who sacks you.
Oh yeah, I managed. I fired so many people, and oh yeah, I know they. It's part of what that whole surrounding, the whole mindset becomes a power trip sometimes.
And I got myself out of that position and, into a more subservient position. And I feel much, much better for it. I'm not quite as much of an arsehole as I used to be, should I say.
You're almost warm and fuzzy today. Shit, I don't know who this is we're talking to. Did we change your programming and I forgot it?
I've had a firmware upgrade. Don't worry.
Without a doubt. Oh shit. What happened? Something happened. My computer blinked. Oh, I see. I've got too many screens open.
Left it hanging, John.
Iron Realm, home of the pregnant pause. We trademarked it here.
I broke first, didn't I? Virgin. Newbie. Noobs.
Gotcha.
It's
disappearing now for at least 30 seconds to drain the main vein, just to let you know.
Get older. I found as I got older, John, it's not the time it takes, it's just the time it takes to start that's the issue. There's an Italian phrase where they call old men chatting, it's called il prostati. It says it all. Seriously, I think
Arwen apparently thinks he's got the prolonged pauses copyrighted. We need to get on that channel and start making our money, apparently, from all our copyright strikes we could be hitting him with.
Yeah, but if Arwen's got a prolonged pause, he pulls out an Illuminati croissant or something. So that don't count. can't unpause yourself.
And now I'm looking in chat. I got to stop that. Shout out to everybody. I'm going to stop and not have this because I just realized our helmsman is no longer helming the helm there.
Just realized that.
I know I did too when we didn't have the pregnant. I mean, nobody broke the pause. I was like, oh shit, where's Josh with the button? At least a savage shout out.
Clearly, we need to open our phone lines and get someone in who's got something to say. It's
what Doomer?
001304. Shall I go again?
Yeah, sorry.
Doomer, get in here. Have they banned booze and fags in South Africa?
I'm trying to see if I still can access the phone here, but even if I do, if I try to call, stream the call, I'll probably crash. So I better not try that. We'll just wait till Josh gets back. But we could drop a link to Duma in the
Send it in Skype.
Skype, yeah, and get him in here.
To be fair, I'm more interested now. Forget COVID. Have they really banned booze and fags? That's ridiculous.
Well, I've said it to a number of South Africans, including Cosmic Surfer and Marduk and a few of the others, and no one has come back and said no, they haven't. So, you know what Twitter's like. You ask a question, you don't get an answer to it, but no one said no. And I heard they were trying to do it in Berlin, Germany. I mean, banning booze in Germany. I mean, seriously? So what would happen if they tried that in the UK? Absolutely fuck all, I imagine. People would go around going, you can't drink. You might get COVID.
Well, what would the British do during a COVID lockdown if they're not allowed booze and fags?
They would blow themselves up making stills, which are illegal in the UK.
It would be a riot then, John, wouldn't it? Then they'd be in this shit.
Well, bring it on then, is all I say. Bring it on. You know, if that's what it takes to wake the hell up, then maybe we should bring it on sooner rather than later.
Father, the sleeper has awakened!
How's Josh doing that? I hope that's you, Walt.
Walt would have crashed if it
I'm playing around and trying not to crash my computer. I just remembered I could share sound only on this app, unlike Skype in the mornings where you have to share a screen with sound. So I may be able to play around. I still don't think I can do the phone calls, though. That would be taxing my system.
If anyone is in chat that loves Walt and Josh and all the rest of it, can they please start a GoFundMe to get a quantum computer for each of
No doubt, right? We'll
the
get it set up.
Ironworks crew? There's so much we could achieve. Oh, I'm joking now, but
I could play promos for our other shows.
Hi, this is Alan. I like Ironworks because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love Ironworks with Josh, Walt and Zach. It's like sitting in your front room having a cosy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that Ironworks with Josh, Walt and Zach, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the Ironworks on TFR.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Iron Realm Media is the best on the plane. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to space letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to The Ironworks with Zach, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on the Ironworks and become an Iron Scout.
Shout out to the Iron Scouts. Oh, apparently Nuka-Cola can't join us, he says. So there's one down.
They banned the internet as well.
Yeah, his girlfriend is teaching, and he doesn't want to interrupt her. I'm being polite.
Just ask him one question. Have they banned booze and fags?
That's all we care about.
Heavy band, booze and fags there with you, Duma. More dead air is all that shit.
No, we'll wait. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're not going to talk now, Dim, until you respond.
Looks like I got back just in time.
Hi there, sir.
Sorry, I had to.
We've done some stuff. We've had a few things happening here.
Well, good.
We tried to start a GoFundMe to replace that old computer behind you.
I'm trying to get quantum computers for all the ironworks lot.
Hells yeah.
I don't need a computer.
Well, then we could time travel and catch up with Rob.
I got
And
a
at
great
least
computer.
8 screens each.
That's insane. You guys and your computers with all the different open windows and all that stuff. You're nuts.
Sorry, can't hear you. Are you on your phone?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Am I quiet? I said you're all nuts. You and your computers with your open tabs. Being that mean to those
I'm
computers.
kind of like Daz in chat. I think quantum is quite a misused and overused word, kind of like space lettuce, quantum lettuce. Quantum lettuce. Uh-oh, band name called it.
Well, yeah, I didn't put TM on the end, trademark. I mean, quantum, obviously. God. We're living in this world.
Yeah.
Prove another
Thinking
way.
about a kind of Geordie LaForge visor kind of quantum computer. It's not real. Just
like
in fact, they're not real, are they? Quantum computing is a kind of grail, isn't it, of computing? It's not actually something that is even remotely achievable. It's just kind of stuff they sit around over a boardroom and waste money about, isn't it?
It's just nonsense. It's a lead up. There's pre-programming for the quantum CPU that Intel will come out with in 5 years' time, and it'll be Quantum 1 and Quantum 2 and Quantum, and it just means bollocks. Still a CPU, still works in this world. It's not dipping into other frequencies.
That's what Daz said. He said a true quantum computer wouldn't be physical. You would just use your consciousness to activate it. So there we go. I'm just going to improve it all right here mentally.
Well, maybe we all have quantum computers in our head already that we just don't realize how to use yet. We haven't read the manuals.
That's where all those voices come from, John. I didn't have voices in my head when I got here. It wasn't until I'd been here a little while.
You want to take your headphones off? There you go.
Exactly.
See?
I should have known.
Gets rid of all the voices in your head and replaces it with a high-pitched ringing sound that'll drive you insane. Anyone else getting that? Wicked tinnitus.
I mean, sometimes. Comes and goes.
As and when you take your headphones off?
Mm-mm. Completely unrelated. I can't seem to find any.
And you get to the
connection.
point where it's like it gets quite intense and then it just shuts off. It just stops. Have you heard that?
Oh, I've had it change frequency and shift pitch and go away and come back.
The way you're just sitting there in this fug of high-pitched whining and then it suddenly just shuts off and you're like, what the hell just happened? What?
Mine usually sounds like someone's tuning it in to just that right tinnitus frequency. That pitch kind of shifts and changes right at the very beginning when it's kicking in until it finally finds it, and then it just levels out and then stops or fades out, or I just quit noticing.
Yeah, I think it's quit.
Yeah,
noticing.
eventually it's like the hum of the fridge in the background. It's just part of the background.
Imagine if they just shut the entire grid off.
Yes.
And then everyone would just sit there and go,
I do daily.
wow.
I daily imagine what it would be like if they just shut the fucking grid off.
And they just sit there. It would be so quiet. It would be deafening because we're so used to this fug of crap that we live in.
Yeah, that's aside from the living situation here, that's my second biggest complaint is just the noise because we're so close to the highway. So there's just this constant hum of highway traffic in the background. And
Yeah, I
then
used to.
once you get out away from that and just listen, and you can hear the hum that it's not there anymore, and it's just sounds of nature and quiet. There's nothing like it. I have to get back to that as soon as possible.
Because you've just been away out of it, haven't you, for a few days?
We were gone most of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and most of Sunday.
And was it to an area that was, sort of quiet?
Yeah. It was pretty quiet. It took maybe 10 minutes to get to the closest town, but even that town wasn't very big. A little town called Poplar Bluff, down in southern Missouri. And, my wife it's backwoods Missouri. I guess quaint is a word that could be used to describe them. Very backwoods they are. Well, okay, so once a year, my wife gets together with some friends that she's had since she was in junior high school, like 8th, 9th grade, some shit like that. So the last couple of years, they've taken to just renting an Airbnb. It started off as like a float trip. Everybody just, gets in a canoe or a big tube and floats down the river for a couple of days, just getting as drunk as you can, and then camping out. But as they've gotten older, it's calmed down a little bit. In the last couple of years, they've taken to renting an Airbnb. Just a nice big house, because anywhere from 12 to 15 people usually show up at these things. So you get a nice big fancy Airbnb for $1,200 and just split the cost by however many people show up. It's really quite reasonable. And we all just sit around and have a good time. Well, last weekend was this year's weekend to do it. And I left work at 10 a.m. on Thursday, came home, grabbed our stuff, grabbed my wife, and hit the road. And we got down there maybe around 2. And then about 2:30, I guess. By 3, the car was unpacked. All we had to do was start prepping some food to go through the weekend, just cut veggies and things like that to make it a little bit easier in case we get too many drinks in us that we don't have to worry about playing with sharp objects. So 3 o'clock rolls around, car's unpacked. Dixie says, I'm going to go hop in the pool real quick, cool off, come, have a beer, and we're going to start chopping veggies. So she changes clothes, goes to the pool, steps in, slips, grabs the handrail, which is not tight, and the whole handrail moves, and down she goes and sprains her ankle. Day 1, hour 1, drink 0. Hasn't even managed to open her first beer and has fallen and sprained her ankle. And she toughed it out as best she could, but the next day I took her up to urgent care. And,
COVID.
Well, first urgent care says that they couldn't see her without a photo ID. And she thinks, well, crap, I must have left mine in my pants pocket back at the house. I'm not about to take this busted ankle and ride back to the house to pick up the ID to ride back here and do this. So we'll just go to the ER. More expensive, whatever. So we get to the ER. And first thing is, the lady at the table, the COVID table, the check-in point, wants to take my temperature. And she wants me to lean down so she can shoot me in the head. And I just shook my head, said no, and held my arm out. And I said, you can take it here at the wrist or here at the elbow. And she looked real confused. So she turned and looked at the other gals. Can I do that?
I can do that? Really?
Right. Had no clue. Like, oh, yeah, it's actually more accurate if you take it there at the elbow. Whatever. So then there's the check-in desk. And they said, okay, go up there and stand at the red line. So I'm looking around. Oh, okay, there's the check-in desk and a sign that says red line on it with the picture of a red line. Okay, cool. So I walk up there. No, you got to sit back here past the red line. And I look behind me, and there's a blue line on the floor. And like one of those retractable barriers, like the single strand webbing barrier that's red. The barrier itself is red, so they've got it sitting on top of this blue line. So it doesn't, not even really a line per se, other than just a piece of fucking furniture.
Have you been to prison?
Have I been to prison? No, I have not been to prison.
You have now.
Not yet.
Not yet. Does FEMA camp count? But, so they took her blood pressure and they put the cuff on her forearm for some fucking reason. And used the electric sphygmomanometer to take her blood pressure. And it just pumped up too high and it wouldn't shut off. So it like bruised her veins and shit in her forearm. I mean, she was like screaming, ready to come out of the chair, rip the cuff off, because it just kept pumping up. And then when it did finally stop, it just sat there. Didn't start deflating or anything. So it was just one folly after another. And she said by the time we left that she'd have been probably better off going to the vet.
So hopefully you've bought a book since then on basic first aid, like sprained ankle, wet bandage.
Maybe it was all pretty well self-explanatory. You know, keep your foot elevated above your heart.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have thought. So we're sitting in the emergency room and they had her sitting up on the table and I'm just sitting there waiting for the nurse practitioner to come in. And the little tech girl is there. And I said, since it's a sprained ankle, would it be a good idea if you gave her a pillow to prop her foot up? Oh, yeah, let me do that. Let me go get a pillow. Like, Jesus Christ. And we're going to have to pay for this.
Are you a doctor? Yeah, a bit of arnica. You know.
Well, I forgot to mention, after they took my temperature, they said I had to use the hand sanitizer. So I stop and I look at it. And I look over at the lady. And I reach out. And before I even squirted, I said, so what's this for? And by this time, Dixie knows I'm pissy, that I'm not going to stand too much for more of this bullshit. She says, quit being ornery, Josh. Quit being ornery. He's just being ornery. She's like, oh, well, that's a hand sanitizer. You know, you use it. You'd be surprised how many people just don't wash their hands, and it's disgusting. I said, so that's what that. So why am I using this? Dixie says, Josh, quit being ornery. She says, he's just pointing out that that's an antibacterial hand soap that you've got for a virus. And the lady looks real confused again and just kind of looks over at the other lady. And at this point, this is when I headed up to the red line at the front desk. But yeah, it was just a fucking shit show.
Stay indoors, man. Stay indoors. It's got to be easy.
Well,
That's the best bit of Mrs. telling you off I've ever heard. Give her a kiss.
Ornery. I've never heard of
He's being
that.
pissy. He's just pointed out that that's an antibacterial for a virus you're worried about.
What did
Brilliant.
she say? What does she call you? Ornery.
Ornery. O-R-N-R-E-Y. Ornery. Ornery. I don't usually pronounce that first R when I say it.
He's an ornery cuss. I know Josh pretty good.
I'm going to have to look that one up.
I highly
I'll have to
recommend it.
use that.
It's a good one. I use it quite a bit.
I might have to get a T-shirt with that on there.
Usually that would fit you super well. Ornery and savage. So I've been taking care of her for the last, 8 days now. Now it's Friday. So the whole weekend and so far, pretty much all this week, I'm making sure she doesn't have to do too much. So that's where I disappeared to. How's that for a roundabout way to say, that's where I went. Welcome back. Looks like I got here just in time because I've been up helping Dixie get some dinner.
Chopping veg. Good man.
Has she got a bell?
Oh, hell no. Hell no. Well, and things around this household have been so effing crazy for the last 6 months with my mom here and driving us batshit.
Refineries, things like that. And OSHA, dude, OSHA is all.
That's a neat bit of ventriloquism there, Walter.
Was that? Yeah. How'd you do that, Walt? Your lips weren't moving and you were muted. but I still heard you talking.
That was pretty weird. Adam, I hope that
the
was
video,
you.
I think a video might have started playing in the background.
That was weird.
Uh-huh.
Pretty amazing.
Sure excuse.
AI, it messed up. No, I've hugged Walt. I know he's real.
Well, it was so nice to be able to get away for the weekend and not have my helicopter mother and all of her shit around, so you can't walk, you can't sit, you can't really do anything but go from point A to point B, and point B is pretty much always in my bedroom these days.
How do you know that your mum doesn't listen to this?
She might. I mean, when I say things have been kind of crazy here, if this is how I could communicate with my mother, if she would listen to this, it would be a vast improvement over the shit that I'm telling her now. Really, because
she's upstairs, yeah.
I think she's gone still, because I've been basically, one of us have been yelling at her since we got back from the weekend, whether it's me or Dixie or my son. She's been just picking fights, it seems.
I can't sympathise with you enough. I could not live with either of my parents, and they're both still alive and ornery.
Well, I really wanted to. She's getting up there in age. Her health isn't the best. Her memory is declining. There's lots of reasons for me to be here. But I think the most important reasons that I have are for me to leave. Because the only good relationship I could have with my mother at this point is if I only see her on occasion. It's been too much. It's been 6 months straight. Last night, and so far today, has been the first time she's really gone out of the house and stayed gone. Last night was the first night she has not been here in 6 months.
I had the same with my mother. It became blindingly apparent that I could only remain friends with my mum. And me and my mum are good friends, but in small doses and not in the same house or even in the same town. But I sympathise, mate. I couldn't do it. It's like if you went back to live with your parents, it would just be wrong. You know what I mean? We're not meant to be in this situation. Although that's not to say having your parents nearby years ago, 100 years ago, you'd have all lived in the same shack.
Yeah, that's it, John. I think we're supposed to take care of them.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
I'm hearing what I'm saying as I'm saying it, and I know it's wrong, but in this day and age,
oh yeah, it's totally different.
The programming that's gone on, you know, my parents were born in the 40s, and the programming that's gone, it's just almost a bridge that you're setting on fire behind you. It's just almost no meeting of the minds in between, but it's not the way it was meant to be. The old are meant to teach the young. We're meant to commingle as families, as tribes, as groups. It's it's just all upside down, back to front, as always.
And I see Thomas in chat saying, take care of your family. You should be able to stand it. It's your obligation. It's not forever, right?
I don't know about all that either. Some people don't get along.
And see, I think there's a big difference. I think that we should be taking care of them. But I think that back when we were all living together as a tribe and we were respecting our elders and taking care of our elders and raising our elders up into positions of esteem because of their wisdom, I think there was a certain progression. First, you're a child, and then you go through a rite of passage, and you say, okay, I am no longer a child anymore, so now I do grown-up things. And then pretty soon, when you aren't able to do grown-up things, you say, well, okay, now I'm more of a hindrance. Now I have to change roles, and I have to learn to step back a little bit because I can't do the things I used to be able to do. So if you want to be able to take care of somebody like that, they have to be willing to change roles and realize that they just are not capable of doing what they think they should be able to do.
Yeah.
So it just
No,
becomes a battle, and it's a battle to get anything done. So either I do all of her stuff or fight her.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Is that the young people have no respect for the elderly, and the elderly have no respect for the young because they think that because they've been here 65 years or 70 years, I'm 30 years ahead of you. You know nothing. You know, my mum thinks she can change the oil on the car better than I can, even though I've done it 6 times and she's never been under a car in her life. But because she's 30 years or 40 years older than me, she has to know better. And because I have no respect for elderly, I think she's an idiot. But that's all wrong. Yeah. The entire thing is wrong. You should respect these people because they've been around a hell of a lot longer than we have, and they've seen a lot of things. However, most of them still vote. So,
yeah, that's the hard part. With all this brainwashing going on now, it's not like it used to be.
No.
There's grown-ups, you know, the elderly, that are still acting somewhat like children.
I maintain that we are all, to a certain extent, 12-year-olds in adult bodies. We've got to a certain point and we are stuck there. I mean, when I think of my father when he was my age and the shit that he was doing, it was entirely ridiculous. You know, you weren't grown up. You were still a child. And when I think of myself in 20 years ago, playing video games at age 20 and stuff, it's like, what the hell are you doing? You know, it's crazy, and it's not how I'm bringing up my children. They've turned 13 now, and as far as I'm concerned, they are young men, and they need to behave that way. Children's time is over. You know, that's why they got knives
But
for their
yeah, so
birthday.
many children that never actually grow up have children, and then there is nobody to teach them how to be a grown-up because the grown-up is still acting like a child.
Yep, it's a cycle of emotional retardation.
Yeah, they get to a certain point in their life and they say, well, I'm a man now. And yeah, they may physically be a man or a woman, but emotionally and in their intellect, they're nowhere near. They're still 12-year-olds.
And we're going to see a lot more of this with this social distancing among children.
Well, that's exactly
I mean,
what
the
they're
playground
going
is
for.
where you learned, you know, social things.
You learned
Yeah,
everything.
you
in
got
the
punched,
playground.
you got hit, you got tackled, you got chased, whatever. But you learned, okay, you can do this, you can't do this. You can't go up and just pinch the girls on the butt. That's not okay. You learn that at a young age, you know.
Yeah.
But nowadays, they were saying they have recess 2 times a week now. That's it. At elementary schools, it's like the playground is where the actual learning goes on at school. All that garbage that the teachers are supposedly teaching, 90% of that could be thrown out and they'd be just as well off when they got done. But the playground is where they learn the social, you know, interacting with other people and what is okay to do and what's not okay to do and this and that.
And my kids are going back to school next week and they've got bubbles. So none of these bubbles interact. So none of the kids, they have different playgrounds. You know, they've got the teachers going around in one way and the students going around in another way. And it's just all segregation again, just like school was when we were kids. You know, you were in your year and you get taught according to your year rather than in the old days. You know, the 6-year-olds would be hanging around with the 15-year-olds and the 7-year-olds with the 19-year-olds and the 90-year-olds with the with all of them. You know, you would learn something from all of them. There was no age segregation or curriculum, UN based curriculum to deal with. It was natural. It was natural. And we've lost all of that to the point where the old can't stand the young can't stand the old, the police hate the public hate the police, and we're all fighting amongst ourselves when no one is, well, very few people are pointing the finger at the people who are disseminating these policies, which are the bought and paid for corrupt politicians. And beyond that, the unelected old farts in suits at the United Nations. And it goes beyond that, obviously, but all back to Rome. Step away from the chat.
Gleam was in chat saying that Edward Snowden just got let off and then patted on the back. After all these years of marginalization and demonization of what he did and stealing state secrets. Says he just got a court ruling that the NSA did indeed break the law, and Edward Snowden was a star for having highlighted it.
Who's saying that?
Gleam in chat.
I mean, who's saying, where's that coming from?
All I can do is tell you where I got it from.
Okay. But I mean, the Snowden thing. I mean, anyone think that was real? Much like Assange.
What's his name? The other one? The tranny. Little scrawny guy. The hell was his name?
It doesn't narrow it down.
Yeah.
He's the guy that was a whistleblower, but then was a female whistleblower. I forgot. Oh,
Yes, that's it. Chelsea Manning.
Oh, well done.
Thanks, Lucas.
That could have been painful.
I'd have never got it. I'd have sat here in silence for the next 45 minutes. Pissed off I can't think of it.
The reason I went quiet, John, was actually, as you were saying what you were saying, that came up from Glean. And I was thinking that's... it's only Snowden, but from America leads, you know what I mean, in so many things, and you talk about Assange and stuff, but for Snowden, who was vilified so much, if that's true, and that's quite a significant statement from a state, or backtracking on principles, actions, and the way you should behave, if that is true.
But it's like everything else, though, isn't it? You know, they've had backtracks. I mean, I've got a thing on my blog about 41 conspiracy theories that came true. No one gives a shit. They could backtrack all they want. They could say, yeah, the Queen is a serial child trafficker. The kids are all pedophiles. And, you know, this could be even admitted in mainstream media, and people would just be like,
That's weird.
Whatever.
Must be fake news. What a weird story. Huh. Where's my mask?
That's what I mean. You can get away with anything at the moment. It really doesn't matter what is said.
What Gleam's just said there is that there's no, I'm not seeing a pardon there. So it makes a statement of facts. The scheme was exposed by a whistleblower. That doesn't mean that whistleblower then can't be charged with espionage. As Edward Snowden 7 years ago resulted in charge of espionage. He was granted asylum in Russia. That means Russia let him off. All that says to me is that the states accepting a statement of fact of what we already know has gone off. And a court has now accepted those facts. It doesn't mean Snowden's been exonerated or even lauded for his actions, does it?
No, I mean, he's still, technically he broke the law.
Yeah.
He did. I'm sure he had to sign confidentiality agreements and all kinds of crap like that to be accessing that type of information.
Whistleblowers have special protections, though, under the whistleblower status specifically. I mean, Gleam said that he did get a pat on the back, that he sort of was made to be the star for having exposed the NSA overreach. I guess I could actually look up and see.
It'd be nice. It'd be, you know, people are getting held accountable lately. It seems like some people, at least.
Well, it's one more thing to add to the pyre, isn't it? It's you know, I mean, if we actually compiled everything that we knew was real, these people wouldn't last the day. But how do you get that out and into the general public's perception of what the hell is going on? I mean, good grief. When you had Jimmy Savile and all that came out, and the cash for questions, and this place should have been overturned years and years ago.
That's I agree, John. That's kind of why I'm not poo-pooing it, but if we lived in the world where we're interpreting it to what we think that means, or what we'd hope it means, the reality is they'd be coming out and saying Edward Snowden is a model citizen. His actions all Americans should follow in any walk of life to whistleblow on any form of corruption. We exonerate him fully of all previous crimes. That's not what I'm reading.
And that would go viral.
I'm reading Newspeak. The scheme was exposed by NSA whistleblower. That's not
scheme.
Yeah, see what I mean? It's not a recognition that he was a brave man.
No.
It's recognition that corruption's occurred, and the next stage is always a lot harder. As you say with Savile, yeah, kids have been fucked, but we're not going to tell you by the huge network that did it. But we'll keep showing you one of the kid fuckers, and we'll vilify them every now and again, but we won't. You get me?
Yeah.
The system stays in place.
Yeah, it's not complete. They drip feed us this nonsense, like all the articles that highlight how many MPs are pedophiles and have been convicted of it. But unless you move in those circles, you're never going to see them. Even if you do, you're just going to go, oh yeah, but it's just a handful. Or it never sort of comes together as an entire package that just slaps you in the face and says, what the hell are you doing listening to these people? And put your fucking stupid mask down, you idiot. This shouldn't, it's just, like I say, it's moving deck chairs on the Titanic. It's just pointless unless you're tackling the root problem.
Here we go. National Interest Online. If the president were to pardon Edward Snowden, then he would risk encouraging similar vigilante behavior that puts at risk the very sensitive information and operations, meaning American interests and lives, that the U.S. national security system is intended to protect.
Brackets, you mean covert pedophile rings and psychopaths that are corrupt beyond belief, running our freaking country and giving us policies like you have curfew and have to wear a diaper on your face. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
And I mean, this should have happened a long time ago. These aren't even the laws that I'm really all that, or the mandates or whatever, that I'm really pissed about. When they tell you you're not allowed to feed homeless people, that pissed me off.
I mean,
and they
this
actually
is the
threw
point.
a guy in jail for it 2 different
and
times.
collecting rainwater off your roof and shit
Yeah.
like this. This is the point, though, Zach, is that there must be something more at play here, i.e., we're being either brainwashed, programmed, MK ultured, or literally poisoned to not react, like fluoride being introduced into penal colonies to subdue the inmates. I mean, this is, we've literally got to the point where we all realize that we should have broken years ago and have had some sort of Bastille Day. But we're all sitting here wondering why no one else has broken. Which makes me think that we have literally been altered in some way to be placid.
Well, I think this speaks a lot to what Adam has said once upon a time and about the whole idea of slavery in general. This idea that you could corral all of these people and get them to do your bidding under the threat of death and just have zero repercussions just seems unfathomable to me. It doesn't make the least bit of sense that you would take whips and torture and death and killing and just mass genocide of people because they're not working hard enough for you.
You are what you eat, people. And what do a majority of people eat? Frickin' cattle.
I think we've gone past the. I think they've achieved, excuse me, that first stage, Josh, of not working hard enough. They broke family life. You know, they broke the family structure so that a woman isn't there for the family. It's a necessity that two adults work to bring up kids. It's been structured so that in such a way that your hourly rate isn't worthy of you as a man being able to look after your family. They've already done that bit. It's the next stage, I think, is the moral breaker that, and this is what we're being tested with now, I think, which is state compliance against all logic and sensibility. Are you compliant enough? Walk down the high street and you'll see the percentage yourself. It's very local, I would imagine, because it is such a mind-altering thing. Are we now going to say no, enough's enough, or are we just going to be led by the state completely so that today black is white, but tomorrow white can be black? You know, it is getting to that Orwellian state of control that they're trying to impinge, and this is huge what they're doing now in terms of the mandating of masks, as we've seen in Australia, the mind control. If you speak out, there's a chance that an armed person who the state will back in their illegal actions will come and disrupt your family life. That's the threat of what Australia has been shown. Are they going to, this is the question, are they going to crumble down or are they going to stand? And it's coming to us all, but I think that's the stage we're at now. I think we've passed, they've already broke us, haven't they? We already can't live as a family should live to survive in this system.
I think we're shell-shocked. I think that, I think most of us, there's a portion of us that saw this coming a mile away and have been screaming about it forever, like us. And we're shell-shocked. And then there's the vast majority that screamed conspiracy theorist and tinfoil hatter, and they're shell-shocked, trying to rationalize why this isn't what we said it was going to be years and years ago. And I'm sitting here proudly wearing a hoodie with Peacekeeper written on it, which was an organization or an attempt years ago by a guy, Kai Holloway, that offered people the opportunity to be voluntary peacekeepers, and they would show up. You were at the arrest of was it Birken? what was it, Adam? The arrest of the judge, Birkenhead.
I wasn't there at that one. That I didn't get to.
But you know the peacekeepers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, I've got a peacekeeper top. Yeah, I mean fundamentally, the reason peacekeepers were there was that even back then we realised that even amongst three people, 10 people, 50, there'd always be one that wasn't part of us that would try and goad the crowd. And as you get bigger and bigger crowds, it was necessary for folks to be aware of what the crowd, because the crowd mentality, it is always less than the average intelligence of everyone there. And when you've got lots of people, instigators, so peacekeepers are basically a response to what the state does, which is throw in disruptions to try and get peaceful people with genuine actions to, in moments of elation or frustration, do things they wouldn't ordinarily do of their own free volition.
It was to root out the agent provocateurs.
Yeah, that's
and also to to show a united front against the police, the policy makers, or the policy whatever the hell they are these days. I don't know, but it was, yeah. I think there was merit in that, and I think we need a group of peacekeepers. These are like the militia in America, except they're armed and they've at least got some teeth. But over here, in numbers, at least the peacekeepers were, they were there to stop any, or at least show a force of unity against any policy makers that would overstep their mark. I don't know. I think we need a revival of the peacekeepers.
Not my plan, but I remember the next stage was, and this is a replication of the state's model, would be for voluntary peacekeepers to be available to enforce the rule of any common law court. I think in replacement of what we see the enforcement from the state's maritime.
Yeah, that's what I mean with this Earth United thing, where they want 100,000 people in each country to simultaneously conduct common law courts. They're going to need a body of enforcement. There's no way around it. There's not enforcement as in violence or anything, just a show of hands, like you said. Put your body out there.
Enforcement. It's because you look at all that, but as I said, with regards to where the police get their power today, their ultimate power comes from us. We choose, like in those cabins where you see citizens arrested, to allow them to have that power. And for any common law court, that the power has to come from the people, because in reality, it's the only valid place it can come from. And if it's not coming from the people, if it comes from another authority source, self-appointed, then it's no more valid than what you're trying to replace.
Well, I would say the police, the policy makers, or the policy enforcers, they get their power from statutes and acts, which have to be called statutes and acts because they're not laws. Whereas our peacekeepers get our power from law, as in do no harm, as in, protect the vulnerable, keep the truth. These are fundamental axioms of law that have worked for however many years. the laws that, or the acts and statutes that the police are enforcing are words said by politicians who do not have the power to make law. So I think we come from a far more powerful position in terms of we're on the side of right, as opposed to you're not allowed out after 8 o'clock at night, or you're more than 5 kilometers away from your residence, we're going to charge you $20,000 as a fine, or you're driving 3 miles over the speed limit, you didn't hurt anyone, but we're going to nail you $600 to keep our coffers up so that we can employ more brainwashed policy enforcers to enforce more policies that we're creating by the thousands every month, as opposed to peacekeepers who, which was initially the role of the police, was to keep the peace. It's that simple.
John, how do you think law relates to rights?
I think rights are separate. Law is man-made. Rights are, you're born with your rights. You don't see a bird having to take out planning permission to build a nest. You don't see a sheep having to fill out a form to drink from a stream or crap in a field. There's a difference between rights and laws.
Do you think without rights we could still have laws, or would everything just then be codified legislature? Do you think the law, specifically the law, is there only to protect the rights?
It should be. That's what I think. It should be. There should be a system in place to protect rights against all opposition. I don't know. You're asking me heady questions.
Justice, though, isn't it? That's the purpose of law, is to bring a sense of justice after the infringement of our given rights, and no harm being the most principle in those. I think that in terms of justice. Now, what you then define as justice is different, but that's the purpose of bringing law in, is to bring order and justice, isn't it, in on top of those rights if they're infringed. If they're never infringed, those rights, then there's no point in the law, because they're never infringed.
And also, the laws should be something that no one can disagree with, really. Do no harm. Who could disagree with that? Yeah, I'd really like to do some harm.
So, a pharmaceutical company makes a cure for cancer and sells it at $3,000 a pill. Old man's wife is dying of cancer, but he can't afford $3,000 a pill. So he goes in, smashes a window, goes and steals $3,000 pill medicine for his dying wife so he can save her. Is he doing no harm? Saving his wife? Or is he harming someone through the theft and destruction of property?
No, the truth is that pill doesn't heal.
I was going to say.
They've lied to everybody and the harm's been done.
You don't need to smash any windows. You just need to go and grow some decent herbs and follow a traditional diet, etc. But yeah.
All right, no room to grow his own herbs, so he's got to buy his own
self-defense.
herbs. So he's got really good herbs that he sells for $500 an ounce. But he can't afford $500 an ounce for his miracle herbs, so he's got to break into the dispensary and steal his $500 an ounce herbs to save his ailing wife.
And he's broke common law. Well, he shouldn't be have his rights impinged on us for him to grow that herb.
It's not his right to go and break into someone else's property and take their property. He had the right to grow his own herbs.
So would it be better to respect the rights of the others or to save the life of the one he loves?
I love the question. Have you got answers?
Oh, fuck no.
But no,
The question is, there's two axioms there. There's the moral dilemma, and then there's the common law, who is breaking common law. Well, clearly he's breaking common law. Is he morally correct to do such a thing in any society that denies him? Yes, he's morally correct. But under common law, he would be liable for fixing the window, as far as I can see, and the loss of earnings from the person he stole the goods from. Other than that, that would be his only crime. Certainly wouldn't be liable for imprisonment or loss of any liberty or freedom.
but also you got to bear in mind the free market. If this guy was working in the free market, then I mean you've got the choice to charge whatever you want for whatever you produce, and the free market will determine as to whether you will succeed or people will say piss off, I'm not paying $500 for that.
That's right. And that's how you get sick old ladies dying in the street while the rich dispensary owners just raking the bucks from the few rich customers they only need to survive. So they can keep their prices high and gentrify out everybody else, because fuck them.
Exactly, because they have a license to grow the weed to sell for $500. But in a free market society, there wouldn't be a license to grow weed and make this product. And I know from personal interaction that there are enough people within just the flat earth community that would be making this stuff. Zach himself has made this stuff and made it available for free because they have that sort of mentality. You will always get the asshole who is trying to sell it for $500 and your poor farmer can't afford it. But that doesn't mean he has the right to go and smash his window in and go and take his $500 weed or whatever. But he does have the right to shop around in a free market society. And I guarantee you there would be charities set up that would make that medication available for free for those who need it by those who can produce more than they need.
You're right, John. The only reason it's $500 and not the cost to grow the plant is because there's people out there that want to profit from other people's labour.
Mm-hmm.
Common law, that becomes more difficult as well. Because a lot of the profiting from other people's labour is done under maritime law and wouldn't be permissible under common.
Well, even still in the black market, I can illegally grow plants in my basement if I should so choose. But because I'm too lazy and don't want to invest the time or the energy or even the risk, I just go buy flowers from a florist. Saves me time, energy, trouble. I don't got to worry about poor yields, small buds.
There wouldn't be a black market if it wasn't illegal. In fact, there would be the opposite of a black market. There'd be competition where, you know, you would have someone growing it and it's really shite and it's moldy and crap and you'd have the other guy up the road who knows what he's doing and he dries it properly and he's cured it and it hits the spot, and that's the guy you'd go to in a free market. And the guy at the end of the road with the moldy old damp weed wouldn't have a market. Trouble is, in this day and age, the guy with the moldy old damp weed at the end of the road gets subsidized, whereas the guy at the top of the road gets SWAT teamed. That's not a free market. We've never lived under a free market. We've never, ever experienced a free market. Anyone alive here on this call has never experienced a free market.
And that's how this country was supposed to be set up and founded. It wasn't supposed to, you weren't even supposed to need a piece of paper with your name on it. You were just a man. If you had a bushel of apples on the side of the road, you sold those apples. There was no
That's right.
license. There was no business. You had to start and this and that and taxes you had to pay.
Wasn't it another plant, a tea plant, that caused half the trouble, the taxing on that? You know, that's.
And if you had a diner at the side of the road and you used GMO everything and had abominable meat or whatever the fuck they call it, then you would go out of business because what you're selling is shite. The fact is, today, you only have the option to go to the abominable meat factory and buy this bullshit. And that's all you can shove down your throat. You know, you think you're drinking coffee, but if it's coming from a name brand coffee house, it's not a free market and it's not coffee and it's not good for you.
I've had some good coffee.
But then again, we get into this whole thing of liability. And what if you think you're growing coffee, but instead you're growing poison, and you've accidentally poisoned several thousand people and killed them all?
Well, the big corporations have no liability. They can produce vaccines and everything. Sun's liability. They don't have any. So, but yeah, the small guy who produces something that's not what it says it is going to get hammered to the ground and stamped out rightly. But the big companies,
It all depends on if you're in the club or not.
Yeah. Whether you've bent the knee, whether you've worn the mask, whether you've taken the vax, whether you have done whatever it is on the crossroads in your life. And yeah, that's what you've got to live by for the rest of your life. But we don't have to listen to these people, the Bill Gates, the Bonos.
No, I never made no vow to any of these people.
No.
Not a one. I pledged allegiance to a flag. And I love that flag. I love this country. Do I care for the people that are supposedly running it right now? No, not at all. But I love the land here, you know. I love this place.
I love my land. I love my country. I love the climate. I love the accents. I love the people.
I never took a vow, though, to any of these people saying that, you know, their word is law just by them saying it. No, screw these people.
Check some of those terms and conditions you've been clicking over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I ain't got time for that.
Have I voted for anyone who runs this country? No, never.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
No, never. But I love my country. I love the people. I love where I am.
Yeah, I love the people who tell me, well, you didn't vote, you don't get to bitch. No. You voted that motherfucker in, all right? I'm bitching at you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You're the one who voted this parasite in there.
Yep.
Wake up.
Because I didn't vote, I get to bitch. You don't get to bitch about who's in there because you're going to participate in that system one way or the other. So you have to shut the fuck up and deal with Joe Biden if you don't like him, or President Trump if you don't like him. You vote, you deal with the consequences. I'll bitch all day I want because you are the motherfuckers that voted.
And you registered to vote. You know what happens when you register?
You give control to the Regis?
Power. Yes. You give your vote away. So your vote doesn't even count anymore once you register.
Zach, what's the alternative to voting? I'm going to throw it back at you, bastard.
I vote with my money.
Yeah,
I try to support small local businesses and stuff like that. And yeah, I vote with my dollars. That's the only thing that affects their bottom line.
Imagine if they threw a war and nobody came.
Imagine.
It'd be a beautiful thing, wouldn't it? They might actually have to get off their asses and go do something. Remember they used to say the king used to lead his men into battle? When's the last time that's happened?
Yeah, he had to, because in those days they didn't have mortgages, They didn't have tax bills. They didn't have, well, maybe had tax bills, but water. The only reason people go to war now is to pay for their house at home, or unless they're true psychopaths. But again, that's the system we're living in. You literally cannot. We're the only species that needs money to live.
Mm-hmm.
No other species at all. No dogs pay fines for shitting on the street. No planning permission for building a mouse nest. No one else pays for water. No one else pays for.
No one else
waste.
bows to a leader.
And we claim to be.
There may be alpha
wiser
males and wolf
species.
packs, and there may be a bear that can kick all the other bears' ass. But do you ever see a bear king? Shut up, Wim. That's only some kind of psychopathy that's been instilled in this plane.
But that's it, yeah. Well, Zach, we've delegated our responsibility to these leaders, so-called.
Well, you're talking about voting, and I've not voted in that general election. There's absolutely no point. Like I say, I can't put my name to something. Thank you very much. Yeah, but as I said on here, when the Brexit vote occurred, I got off my arse and made sure I did vote. There was a clear point to it, and I know what they didn't want. So I bothered to do that, and there's a mismatch with the apathy we have with the what's the fucking point in voting in this system, red or blue, or in Britain they throw a yellow in every now and again, just to confuse you, to give the illusion of choice. There is a purpose to it, and the American Constitution fundamentally underpins the purpose of voting, and it's a demographic ratio. There has to be representation. It's important for us all, for a society to function, even under common law. I think somebody was talking, it's something like for every senator back when there was like 30,000 people. Now, I don't know how many people there are in the States now, but I would imagine the ratio. What are you as a population?
Like 330, 350 million, something like that.
No, you're probably looking at 100-fold. So the issue isn't voting and its usefulness, it's how it's been applied and the way it's been manipulated to dilute it so that the state gets what it wants whenever. If voting had a purpose and it was actually representative, then I think, I don't know what else we can lean to. There has to be a point where we agree on, so we have to agree on something or have a way of agreeing on something. But to me,
there was a point
operates to dilute that. That representation that was originally in the Constitution and the ratios that were set up have a function to me, but no longer are they relevant, because we don't have representation, and that was what it was supposed to be, not voting. It's about being represented.
Well, I do know that in India, a friend of mine in India was telling me about, I can't remember how many years ago it was, but so few people turned up to vote that they had to have a referendum, and it changed everything in their country. I don't know.
That's what I'm talking about.
I think it should have happened last
Stop
election.
playing the fucking game and throw all the pieces off the board, and what are they going to do? It'll have to change.
Surely there is something, and I don't know this, I'm throwing it out there, but surely there is some sort of statute or act or something or declaration that says, you know, if so few people turn out to vote, you don't have a mandate to rule. So I know we hear of figures of people not voting and voting and et cetera, but is there not some sort of stipulation that says unless, you know, more than 10% of the country come out and vote, then, you know, it's like your neighbor saying, well, I want to be president, vote. And, you know, puts it out to the whole street. And one person goes, yay, I vote you as president. And no one else bothered to vote because it's just your dumbass neighbor saying, come out and vote.
There
Surely,
isn't, is there? There isn't.
I don't know.
The only things you have is to certainly in the UK is to spoil your ballot. Now, even if everybody turned out and spoiled the ballot and one person voted for a candidate, that candidate would win. Now,
yeah,
it may
that's
be
spoiling the ballot, though. That's
it can be morally
hold
abhorrent,
on.
but
In order to even get to the ballot, you have to register to vote, and this is where I think they get you. You know, they don't give a shit if you vote or not. Which is why in the UK it's not an offence not to vote, but it is an offence not to register to vote. So I think in your registering to vote, you are giving them the mandate, whether you vote or not. See what I mean? Like in
Yeah,
Australia,
they push
you
that
can
at the
get
DMV
fined.
every time I go. Are you sure you don't want to register to vote? You don't have to.
Well,
But
I
now,
found out I was registered to vote when I've never registered to vote.
yeah, I went and checked mine after you told me that, and I'm still not registered.
I
Yeah,
think
they
it's
have a
the act of
website over here. Everybody in the U.S. can go check to see if they're registered or not, and blah blah blah.
and words have meaning. Registering to vote, i.e., you're giving away your right, your property, in order to vote. So, as in registering your car, registering your house, or registering your child's birth.
But yeah,
Registering
when you go
is
in to jury duty and you sign your little waiver, your register form for giving the judge the power to give the verdict, when actually that
exactly.
power belongs to the people.
Exactly. I mean, to register to be a witness or a member of a jury, if you're signing away your right to the judge, then you've signed away your right as a jurist. That's the whole point of being a jurist.
Yeah, you're pretty much an observer now. That's it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're on.
I mean, we did say the guilty, not guilty thing. You know, we had to come up with that decision, but yeah, the judge handed down the sentence and all that, and that should have been up to us. And I really, you know, we gave this guy a felony, which means he can't own, possess a firearm anymore. He can't vote. There's all kinds of stuff that you can't do when you get these certain labels put on you. And that was one of the hardest things ever. I was trying so hard to just, but in Indiana, you touching someone that does not want to be touched is assault. Me putting my finger on your shoulder and putting 5 pounds of pressure on your shoulder is considered assault in Indiana.
And I bet that doesn't account. That doesn't count for the police.
No.
I bet they can put any amount of pressure on you, and it will never be considered assault.
Well, it depends. You know, they have to be within their powers to do so. With these body cams now, I've seen a lot of cops losing their jobs and their livelihoods from getting a little physical. And yeah, it's rightly so. You don't go touching people you're not supposed to. Just like we have to follow those laws, they have certain rules they have to follow.
Yeah.
And it's nice that there's someone being held accountable now.
Yeah,
Even
I've
though there
heard
are
you
quite a
saying
few
that.
of
I
their
think that's
body
great.
cams that go missing, there's so many people out with cameras now. It's, who that'll just see a cop on the side of the road pulling someone over, and they'll just go up and start recording. Like Autumn, they'll pull their car over into a parking lot and get out and just start recording police.
I think that's brilliant.
It's happening a lot over here now.
That's how to use technology in our favor, and also how to rewind our society back 100 years, 200 years, whatever it is, to where these people,
Yeah, they're being held accountable for their actions.
Yeah.
About time.
Yeah, I think it's great.
So yeah, I mean, it all depends on how you're looking at stuff. Things are getting better, things are getting worse. Yeah, it's all life. It's, all depends on what you're looking at. I see things getting better, really. As much fear porn as the media puts out there, I think the powers that be they're on their toes for sure. I'm not going to say they're scared, but they're paying attention.
I've got so much pride. I'm almost bursting with my wife, who is not into this stuff. She understands it. She knows what I'm talking about, but she's not into this stuff. Plus, she's Australian, so read into that. But she's still a masked virgin, and she's gone and done all the shopping and gone to several different, the post office, the bank, the supermarkets, everything, and she has not once worn a mask. She went into work yesterday for the first time. They said you'd have to wear a mask. She said, I can't. And they said, okay. And she didn't have to do any of this. She could have easily worn a mask. She could have, and I've just got so much, because I'm sitting here cowering at home like a little pussy, because I don't want to go out. And I've just got massive respect for anyone that goes out there without a mask, and there's no conflict or anything. She's never been approached. She's never been, even had anyone giving her a dodgy eye. But it's just having the bollocks to do it, or the ovaries to do it. And yeah, I would just say I've got massive respect for her. And yeah.
Well, that's awesome. The masked virgin. You don't see those very often. Veiled, I've heard, but not masked.
I'll let her know that you gave the thumbs up.
Yeah, I've not been approached yet either. Well, I guess I take that back. There was a small incident in the bank. But they had me cornered because my damn car payment was due and there was nothing I could do. So I just had to put on the stupid neck gaiter that I was wearing. I just pulled it up. So, you need a mask. You need a mask. Let's see if I can find you a mask. I said, can we pretend that this is going to work? She said, oh, yeah. I said, all right, sweet.
That's hilarious. And I'm not having a go at anyone who has worn a mask. I mean, this is why I've got so much respect for my wife, is that it's so easy to just put a mask on, just pull a mask up, shut the people up around you, yada yada, and this is why I've got so much respect for her, because she didn't do that, and she didn't have to. She could have quite easily worn a mask or whatever, and I don't blame people who are wearing masks, but
I think it's the kind of times. I was in Italy, and it's almost ridiculing the situation. You don't see people on the streets really wearing masks. There's the odd sheep, but you go into a restaurant and you'd see the people walk up to the door, put the mask on the same, walk in, point to a table, sit down, take the mask off, and there's no what purpose have I got kicking off there? Actually, the more you see that, the more everybody starts to relax, and by the end of the evening, people who were first obeying the state rules, that were getting up to go to the toilet, putting a mask on, walking to the toilet, none of that happens by the end of the evening, and I think there's a kind of underwritten understanding. You don't have to make a big stand when society then behaves flagrantly, taking the piss out of it by its own natural behaviour. The state's undermined, and I think, like I said, the only place that it needs undermining isn't in the media; it's in the minds of the populace, and that's what matters. That by the end of the evening, you're laughing at it. It's nonsense. There's nobody there obeying these rules. You do it because you got to go in, but look, there's no police about now. You know, I'm in Italy, and there's forms you sign, yeah, which is quite interesting when you look at the legal point, because the form isn't to say anything other than if the police walk in and I'm not obeying the rules, I accept full responsibility. It's nothing to do with the restaurant. Yeah, that's the admittance. Yeah, not anything else. Not I'm putting anybody at risk. That it's bullshit. And it's funny if we reject it and we only. It's like when getting on an aeroplane. You only do it where there is no alternative. Then it becomes a farce in and of itself. It's like driving 71 on a UK road. Nobody drives 71 unless you're pissed. You know what I mean? You won't. Everybody drives normally, and you know, if you want to look abnormal,
which is about 80, isn't it?
It's
And
about
that's the
85,
funny
90,
thing.
no.
Yeah, I mean, no one drives 150 down the motorway because they'd be a fucking idiot to do it. But you can quite happily drive 80, 85, and you know.
Nobody walks up and down an aeroplane, John, with a cold sneezing on everyone on every individual seat, do they?
Yeah, and no one goes snogging anyone with a cold.
Diseases like that. But we can also say we don't have to be wrapped up in bubbles and have life taken away from us for us to survive.
Yeah, isn't it healthy also to interact with all these other, viruses and diseases out there, so we can build up antibodies against them, and our immune system is stronger then?
Totally. That's how you get an immune system, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, this has been like medicine for how long, and now it's all backwards. Nobody can touch each other. Everybody stay away. We can't share our germs anymore. That is so backwards. That's an oxymoron. Like,
what's going to happen to a chicken pox party?
Yeah, I remember having chicken pox parties. I didn't get bad enough the first time, and I caught them again later that year.
We were the carriers for my cousins and all, because we picked it up at school and then gave it to each other as siblings. And then my mom took us all over to my cousins, and they all came over, and we all played and cut up and wrestled. And oh yeah, we were the carrier monkeys.
And it is. I mean, if you get it as an adult, it can be real dangerous. My one of my mom's friends, he had him down in his lungs. Like, it was just real bad.
Yeah, I had them down my throat, dude. It was rough shit. As a kid, I had it all down my throat. That shit was horrible. Oh, I can still remember the taste of that stuff they had me gargling with.
PCP. Well, but whatever that, I'll say I looked in a bit more into virology. Whatever that kind of stuff is, whatever it isn't, it's kind of irrelevant. What they're trying to do is stop us mingling, stop us being human beings. It seems to be the mandate. It's kind of disrupting real life. I've talked about how they've already broke up the family unit. They've disrupted that and perverted that. So the what is normal in that in so many ways. But what they're doing, there's the next stage is now to stop us having physical contact. Is that, how long does this go on for? You know, we've already had
Could you imagine these children
7 months,
20 years never touching another human being?
Hey, John.
What about the poor kids who are about to have their first year at primary school?
Yeah.
Kids. How fucked up are these kids about to become?
For the rest of their
What's
lives.
about to happen to them?
Yeah. This
John?
is normal to them. This is just how it is.
I need to go back and watch The Last Mimsy. I think there's going to be a whole lot of parallels with what's going on from how the movie starts and why Mimsy was sent back and The Last Mimsy was sent back versus to how that whole movie and how it ends and the story ends with the teachers in the field and the kids. And she's just teaching them all a lesson. And then because they've managed to shed those outer coverings and make that human connection again, they've sort of then elevated. And now they're learning at great speeds. They're like literally flying off. The kids get up and they just fly away at the end of it. I really have to go back and watch that.
Do you think if I played this video, we'd get done?
Oh yeah, he's a cockhead.
Yeah, he's a real cockhead.
He's a cockhead.
Our Ironworks show this morning is not on YouTube. It was ripped off of Facebook and YouTube.
Ripped off Facebook even?
Yeah. Facebook's not surprising. They don't have any real good, I don't think, algorithms with determining copywritten music. So it's just kind of a...
It's a good thing I know a dude who can make a copy and put it up there on that YouTubers, huh?
Yeah, we might have to just cut some of that.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to do it.
I thought, isn't it if you use less than 2 minutes, you can get away with all this crap?
No. That'd be cool.
In a perfect world.
Yeah, there's no time limit. I heard it was like 30 seconds even, but nope. Even 30 seconds of something will still get you nailed.
I know. I couldn't believe they gave me a copyright strike for playing the song Wish You Were Here on my guitar. And I know it didn't sound anything like the original, you know. But yeah, I got, not a claim, not a strike. But yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, how much of it do I have to change in order for it to not be a copyright?
This is a good question, Zach, because we've got one upcoming in the next few days. I've not heard nothing, guys, you know, for the one I did with chocolate.
Yeah, I saw that you sent that in. I was wondering had it come back. I haven't checked today.
I put the Iron Realm one as a secondary mandate against the first one against my channel, because I put it on my channel first. So I just said, you know, it's a mirroring of this. But we've only got a few days to go, and I've not heard anything back. So it's probably going to be another Fight the Fat Girth where it just gets back down.
The way I approach it most of the time is, since we stopped fighting them for monetization here on the Iron Realm channel, you know, play what the hell we want to play. And unfortunately, that does bite us in the ass every now and again on Ironworks, especially because we get a little more free-handed there than we do here, because I guess, you know, shout out, we were given that free reign early on and we damn sure ran with it. And so far, we haven't been, you know, spanked on the wrist by Chris or Cherie yet.
No, not at all. We drop F-bombs every show.
They're pretty amazing in that respect, but it does get us bitten, like the show today that got yanked. Like I said, the people that were there this morning saw it, and I'll definitely make plans this weekend to pull it down and edit it a bit and get it back up there. Shout out real quick, talking about monetization, talking about the lack of us having super chats or any of those bonuses that some of the other channels are able to keep up with. Kelly Lay in chat is our official first Patreon. Thank you so much. You are now, if you weren't before, for sure, you're an Iron Scout now, damn it. But everybody.
Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, but thank you, Kelly Lay. Love you a lot and appreciate it for sure. And others have done so before, but this is the first time we've actually had our Patreon working. And because we kind of messed with it early on, and then they changed this and they changed that, and we just kind of never messed with it again. I assumed it was in our description. It had been for a while, and then I go check and it's not. So between that and fumbling with all the trying to figure out how to get into it, Josh helped out and Kelly made it work. So thank you so much.
That is really awesome.
And it all goes back into the show.
I'm about to tell you, that's where it'll be headed too.
Yep.
It for sure, everything that we've been given by the generosity of the watchers and listeners has gone right back into apps to keep it as flowing as we can. I mean, you're going to get the patented Iron Rim pregnant pauses. That's part of the package for you.
Well, the reason they're hearing us is because Josh has got donations and signed up for Zoom, wasn't it? Or
Zoom
Restream
and
or
Restream
some shit, or I don't know.
Yep,
Yeah,
Pavlo.
didn't they pay for Zoom as well? Or was that your out of pocket?
I'm pretty sure that was me. But they definitely paid for Restream, which was
Restream,
about
they
as
definitely
expensive,
paid.
if not more.
Big time.
Zoom was you, yeah. You got overtime, and you went out and spunked a couple of $100 on Zoom. Yeah.
Right. We were some of the early adapters to Zoom.
Well, a bit of disclosure. What sort of money have you ever made from YouTube since the start?
200, I think, was what we finally cashed out.
Is that what we finally got?
I think so.
That first run before they zapped us?
And that'd have been 3 or 4 years ago.
No, I'm a businessman and made money. Not what was your net income. What did you make? There's a big difference. So what did you expend getting to this point? Not how much we got off YouTube. I'm down shitloads. I don't know about you.
Me too. I'm down thousands.
Right.
Easy.
Well, see, I didn't look at it as a businessman would there. Indeed, sir, Adam. So
yeah, for all the toys I've bought to make videos and stuff, yeah, I'm way behind.
I never looked at it that way. It's all about the love that comes flowing back in and has been, and meeting you amazing dudes and hanging out, and Cammie and the family we've made. That's all this has been about. Good Lord, if this was about money, we'd have quit the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? I mean, literally, if this was about money, well, it's clearly not about money because we're still here.
That's what I'm saying. We're still here with the family, truly, that stays and that loves us and come hang out, and we love y'all. And
my God,
we'd be here without you talking to each other.
That first
We're glad you're here,
Patreon.
too.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
That is.
I'm really happy for you guys.
Well, it's for us, John. Whether
Yeah,
you
John's
like it or
not
not.
part of Iron Realm either, remember?
That's right. He's a lone algorithm AI all in his little world.
He's not a part of Iron Realm Media. He's just managed to make it for 99.9% of all the shows over the last 5 years as a panel member.
As a non-participant, right.
I'm an annexed AI, whatever it is.
Something.
Dear IRM.
And on that note, I'm gonna bail out.
Shit, he's got
Time
to go
for the
now.
first goodbye.
It got too warm and fuzzy. We overloaded his algorithms.
If John's doing one as well, I'm going to hit this out because I said, COVID or not, I've still got to run the line tomorrow. I don't know. Things are back to normal, frankly. We're all pretending.
Awesome. Well, you have an awesome time out there, man. I know you got to enjoy that stuff. I didn't even have any children, but I loved going out and being an umpire at the Little League with my buddies. It's just good times, man, you know?
As a flat I'm used to taking abuse, so I shall look forward to it again as any decision I give accuses me of being a cheating bastard. But more importantly, guys, it's been great to be back, and I'll hopefully see you next week.
Yeah,
love you, Adam.
I missed the
Have you
shit out
back,
of you,
man.
Adam.
Missed you.
Good fun.
Big time. Good to have you back. Catch up next week. Adios.
All right, guys. Love you all. And everyone in chat, God bless. Good night. I'll see you next week. And I shall listen to you guys as I head to bed. I tried this morning to get in. It was crazy. I'm like, freaking hate work. It ruins everything. Really enjoyed. I loved it in Italy. 11 o'clock start in Italy, mate. You guys, you're proper nice timing. It was very nice over there on Ironworks. But Yes, I missed it this morning. So you've
Ken's
not really
just a
said
little bit.
what you was down. Was it that ginger dude?
It could have
Bloody
been.
gingers. Trouble, aren't they?
Gotta
Yeah.
watch it.
Every last one of them.
Clapperbury bastards.
10 a.m.'s just a little bit too bloody early, you know.
It's, honestly, it's much better in Italy, John. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm more than happy to move to Moscow, so it's sort of 12 or 1 o'clock, you know, normal time.
Maybe you're just going the wrong direction. Maybe you just need to start earlier. Stay up later. What time is it now?
No idea. Well, it's 1:11.
2 hours before you'd be starting the show.
1:11. 1.
Make a wish, make a wish.
However, that is UTC, not GMT.
Yeah.
For those ham radio semi-enthusiasts out there.
Yeah, we got to get the ham set up here. Get your call sign and dock
None
sheet.
of that East Coast bollocks or the mountain country bollocks or the West Coast Pacific or just UTC for Christ's sake. Just keep it simple.
What
Weren't we supposed to all go to a 20-hour clock at some point too? What happened to that?
When the pole
I
shift
don't think
happens.
so. We've only got one clock. Well, and that's right above our head.
That's the one.
The sky
clock.
It's the only one to set your
And
watch
when
by.
those, you can't see those anymore,
That reflected Earth and the moon up there. No.
it's time to start praying or whatever you're going to do.
Right? Man, it seems like there was something else I wanted to do before we left, and I cannot bring it back. It's gone. I'll remember it by the time we log off.
Oh, I got one real quick.
What was
we
it?
talked
What was
about this morning.
Yeah, what was it? What was it?
Your
I want to talk about the trees.
The tree communication. Yeah, we did forget to get back
that
to
was
that.
awesome. The new plant discovery. The plant whisperer made a new plant discovery. That's pretty profound.
Yeah, I'm not going to take credit. It wasn't my discovery, but yeah, it was new to me for sure. All the oak trees, no matter what year they're born, they could be born 5 years apart, 6. Like they'll all have a normal amount of acorns, and then certain years, every so often, they all have like 7 to 8 times as many acorns. And they all do it on the exact same year, like they're communicating somehow, or something is hitting a switch that tells them this. Now, I've seen this with cucumbers before. I've seen this with many different plants. They'll have like the year of that plant. Just everybody's garden will be bursting from the seams with those plants. And now it makes sense that something is telling all these plants at the same time, these certain types of plants, hey, it's your year to produce extra.
Hey, Zach.
Yeah.
I've heard this too. And it's not just one plant or another plant that is bursting this year. I mean, I'm hearing reports all over the world that everyone's plants are bursting. And I've also heard that this only happens when you're headed into a really deep winter. Right? Have you heard that?
That's what my grandma used to say.
Right. So, it's like bears hibernating. I don't know, but I've heard if you have a bumper crop, it means that you're going to have a bastard winter. So,
Well,
on
it
that
didn't
note-
happen this year. It wasn't like crazy this year with the acorns. And it's weird because different plants are like on different years.
Right.
Okay.
And the way that one guy was explaining it all had to do with, okay, there's this many nuts every year, so the squirrel population could only be so high because there's only so much food out there. Well, on these years where they go extra, all these squirrels are in heaven, they have nuts planted all over the place. They went and buried them all over, but they can't even eat all of them. There's so many. So a lot of these nuts that they buried actually turn into oak trees, further away from the tree than they would have been. So is it the plants doing this? Are they all getting together and saying, hey, we need to spread out, we need more oak trees, we're going to produce a bunch so the squirrels can go spread them out for us?
I think nature is a lot more intelligent than we give it credit for.
I
Don't know what that
concur,
means.
Absolutely.
I concur.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. Well,
Still learn new things from nature every day.
I was about to say, every time I talk to you, Zach, it seems like I learn something new about plants or seeds or nature. I just need to put it into practice.
That was more sound, not intelligent, but sentient. You know what I mean? That what you're describing, Zach, that's really.
Yeah, it's like there's something out there, like some being or their beings themselves communicating.
Seems like I remember reading, of course, I don't know the source. Maybe it was actually a good source. It may have been Terrence McKenna, but talking about how there's like this fungal layer. I can't remember the name for it. Actually, I used to know it. That's all through the forest. That is like the connection, almost like
mycorrhizae or something. Kelly Lay just put it in
look,
chat.
Kelly Lay in chat. Yeah, I just went back to chat and saw that same thing. Yep, that's exactly it. It's like their version of synapses and connections for nerves, and that's how the trees communicate. They use that system. Of course, the root system for trees is pretty vast under there if you get down to the tiny filaments too. So, and then there's wind that carries little pollen messages back and forth between trees. So I'm sure there's quite a bit of communication that we have no clue about. Well, that was awesome. And that was cool as far as this morning show, but that wasn't the thing I was trying to remember.
I know that wasn't it.
Nuka just reminded me. I even had the email pulled up on a tab and I forgot. So our buddy.
Wait. I'm still with that. I've got to go over.
You don't want to hear this? You need to hear this. All right.
I was going to hear it in bed, but yeah.
Listen to the show tomorrow then. This letter to me earlier this week, and I meant to read it on the show and just didn't, and now I definitely want to. After the amazing show, Adam coming back, everybody just being warm and fuzzy, looking at you, John. This was from Nuka Dema, my buddy Nuka Cola. I can't even talk right now. I don't know how the hell I'm gonna read. Hey guys, I wanted to write in to you guys to express how much you've all changed my life during my journey to finding flat earth and learning to live with the depressing realities that come with it. It started with just one random day I was watching 9/11 conspiracy videos. Honestly, the conspiracy is that people say it's a conspiracy. And random flat earth videos kept popping up in my recommended feeds. One day I decided to click on one and that turned into two and two to too many. See what I did there? And then embarked onto the library and reading about all these theoretical math formulas that I just took as fact. And by the end of the week, I had to accept the unescapable truth. I was lied to through my own ignorance, accepted the lie as fact. My world was in disarray. For the longest time, I loved astronomy and wanted so much to be an astronaut. Good thing I already knew how to swim by that time. That's what's up. I also wanted to be an astronaut as well, my friend. Anyway, but it was the death of a dream and the loss of wonder of what's out there and if we are alone. When I told my longtime girlfriend about this, I cried because telling someone else just makes the whole thing real in a way I can't explain. I was hurting and lost, and more than anything, I felt alone. Until I found you, Flatty, which is Nuka's lovely nickname for me. You guys know him as Walter, and he made me realize there is a curve on his belly. Flatty, I love you, brother. Even if you get as fat, there's more of you to love. On a serious note, though, I reached out to him, and for the first time, I spoke to a person that had gone through what I was going through and did not feel so alone anymore. You tell me about these old farts, I mean, really awesome dudes that he hangs out with. Guys, where are the chicks? They host a live show every Friday, which was at midnight, so technically Saturday morning for me, but whatever, you get the picture. I found myself listening to these people and laughing and thinking about other things about flat earth, and I found my wonder again, and I was looking for like-minded people, and I found friends. I was looking for an organization, and I found a family. That Friday show really makes a difference, and when I'm down, it gets me back up. Even when I'm going through the hardest crap ever, I always feel a little bit better after a listen. I want you to know that you all changed and helped my life, and maybe I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. There's this part of Judaism called Tikkun Olam. I'm sure I mispronounced that. Tikkun Olam, which is the idea that the world is broken into pieces. And I remember hearing once in a movie that maybe we're the pieces and we just need to find each other. I'm glad IRM was a piece I found and pray that you guys continue. Regards, Nuka. I love you, brother, a lot. Thank you so much for that. It was truly a blessing.
Beautiful.
Sweet words, cuz.
That warmed my heart. Yeah, man. I don't know. Thank you.
It means a lot. It does.
I'm glad you made me stay now. I feel good.
Yep. I'm glad you did too, friend. And I'm glad you're back. I missed you a lot, Adam.
Yes, we did.
Thank you all. Love you all.
Love y'all. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week, Tuesday.
Tuesday.
At the earliest.
If you guys missed last week, we did do a premiere. You guys feel free to head on over to the channel and check out the premiere that we put up with me on the WID podcast. It's
so awesome.
Entertaining listen, if nothing else.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing stuff, without a doubt, friend. Without a doubt.
All right. I guess I got nothing. Gentlemen, I think that'll do it.
Yep. Thank y'all. It was fun.
This is always fun. And this has been another exciting episode of Have No Sphere right here on the Iron Realm Media YouTube channel. Thanks, you guys, so much for hanging out with us this evening. Look forward to seeing you next week over on Ironworks on Truth Frequency Radio. And we'll be simulcasting it right here on YouTube, on DLive, on Twitch, on Facebook, on Twitter, all sorts of places. Because that's what we do with the support from the Iron Scouts. We make sure they get to hear us unencumbered, because they've earned that right. So feel free to head on over to the Patreon and become a Patreon to help support us, and we'll make sure that you too never miss an episode of the Ironworks or of Have No Sphere. With that, I love you guys. Thanks for kicking off your long holiday weekend here in the States with us here at Iron Realm Media. Be good, be well. Bye-bye.
Stay human. You forgot that.
Didn't want to wear that out just yet.